Ooh, I had to take a sip of that drink. Sorry. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Kris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line, but we're calling it that for the time being. But, welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line, and there's a reason why we're calling it On the Line for now. This is the show that we're going to be doing temporarily, but because of the two guests I'm going to be bringing in, we'll be calling it something else that I don't want to reveal the title yet. We're working out a couple of things, but these are the official co-hosts that I have for my new very gay panel show. We talk about celebrity news, pop culture, all that good stuff, and we'll be bringing some LGBT news in it as well. So without further ado, I want to bring in something. Last week we had such a huge episode. Thank you for everybody who was watching as well as on YouTube. We had huge numbers, so I decided to bring her back for another episode to come Kiki with me. So host of Beat Face with Lindsay every Thursday at 8 o'clock-ish on IG Live. She is my drag sister. She is messy. She is catty, but she has a heart of gold, and she tells it and says it like she means it. So without further ado, bring in my sister from another mister, the one and only Miss Lindsay Aguilera. Yes, and she came with my favorite wig that I wanted her to wear a couple of weeks ago. But because of scheduling situations, it didn't work out. But she wore it again for me today. Yay! But
for you.
Yes. So yes. We have another guest too, but I just want to check in with you a little bit. We're gonna bring him in a second. So how have you been? How was last week's episode? How are you feeling? All that good. So are you ready for tonight's show?
I'm excited for tonight. I'm happy to be back. Episode 2 for us. So good because last week was so spontaneous, but I had so much fun. The topics were so interesting. I felt like we really dived into a lot of stuff.
And you balanced me out because I was being a little messy, and you were bringing the balance to it all. So
I brought you back a little bit.
Sometimes I need to be real. I need to be reeled in. That's one of the things my publicist always says. Like whenever you bring certain people, and I could be a lot, so you need that person to like ring you in a little bit.
Yeah.
So glad to have you back, and
Thank you.
Miss Lindsay and I are going to be working together on a certain show. We'd want to we'll tell you what it's coming around. It's going to officially launch in March, but we'll tell you the title once we get all the kinks and everything ready, because I ain't going to have y'all steal our ideas and shit. So, or our name. So we got to get all the I's and the T's crossed and the I's dotted before we do all that. But let me shut up on that part, because I might spill a little too much. I've been drinking a little Coke and bourbon, and once you get the little brown juice in me, I can't shut up. So without further ado, I want to bring in someone else, a dear good friend of mine, known him for a long time. We have a lot of the same, we kind of roll in the same circle in regards of like drag folks, club kids, nightlife people. So we are similar in a lot of ways and stuff, but he's much calmer than me. We'll say that. But anyway, so let's bring in Mr. Remy. I ain't gonna say his last name because I know he don't want that. But yeah, hi, Mr. Kylo_Rem period on Instagram.
Hey man.
He's our residential eye candy. So yeah, he's gonna come in and he's gonna just, kiki with us and all that good stuff. So yeah, we got a lot to wait, say it again.
The face of the brand,
Oh. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the first topic. We were thinking about, I was trying to figure out like which direction we should go in. I thought we was gonna go a little serious, but at the last second we decided to go in an entirely different direction. So let's just get a little we'll have a little fun and then we'll get into the serious stuff later on in the show. So the thing we want to do is we want to get into a recap of RuPaul's Drag Race. So yeah, the second episode came on last night, and quite a bit happened. They pulled an all-stars just to get y'all a little up to speed. They pulled a little all-stars, which basically meant like the girls who were in the oh my god, what is it called? The pork chop loading dock. They had to vote for a queen to eliminate. So basically there was a tie between Utica Queen and Elliot with 2 T's. So then the girls had to go in and vote again, and it was unanimous. They sent Elliot with 2 T's home. But then we learned the true gag was Elliot was not eliminated. She was brought in to go with a lot of the girls who won their lip syncs, and they decided they had to compete and write a lyric. They had to write lyrics and come up with choreography for Congratulations, which, sidebar, I cannot stand that fucking song. But it worked for the show last night. And then at the end, that chorus was stuck in my head, but I guess that was the whole point. I hate that song. You know, I hate any kind of song that gets that feels like it's all for marketing purposes or, oh, it's for a TV show. So, and that's what it all seems like with the music RuPaul does. So yeah, so they did the thing, and then we kind of find out that nobody went home, and there was a little back and forth banter between Candy Muse was going in calling them. Well, actually, who was it that called her Elliot the Spy? It was Tina Burner, wasn't it?
Tina Burner kind of like started it.
Yeah, so they all went along with that. It was cute and everything. So without further ado, I just want to get y'all opinions. Remy, what did you think about last night's episode?
Well, I don't agree. I don't think that they should have voted Elliot off. I feel like there was somebody else or a couple of other people who were giving a lot less.
Who?
Like Kimora Hall. I felt like it was very like basic, very... It wasn't much. And I mean, Utica was okay of the group, but I would have gone with Kimora over Elliot. But I'm kind of glad that Elliot got voted off because I got to see more of her, which was just like, okay, well, they kind of shunned her in the first few minutes, but here she is showing what she could really do. I kind of like the fact that they're like in the direction in which they're giving everybody a little bit more camera time or whatever. So you can see their abilities and their talents and everything before they just start kicking people off left and right.
I agree. And I actually hope that even when quarantine is over and the whole coronavirus is put to bed, even though we can go into our conspiracy theories on this whole virus and how it was concocted to bring down, you know, population control and all the shit. I do agree with you that I feel like Kimora is giving me nothing. Like, she's just very basic, very dry. Didn't she say she got that gown from Bob Mackie? And she had an alt girl. You didn't get that from Bob Mackie. You got that from John Packey or somebody. You got that off the gift rack at Goodwill. That is not a Bob Mackie gown because you ruined that shit. And then on
Express.
I just thought that outfit just wasn't suiting her. The wig was too big for her little ass head, and she looked like a bobblehead. And I do feel like she should have went home. But I do agree with you. I like the fact that they are giving the queens more of us the opportunity to get to know them instead of being like the pork chop where it's like, okay, you're infamous, but we didn't get to see you work. And word on the street is no one goes home until episode 4. So they're actually not eliminating anybody until the 4th episode. So next week they're not eliminating people either. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. I should have said that. But yeah, but I like this whole idea of them doing that because, you know, we're in a pandemic, quarantine. They really have to stretch this season out. So anybody on the panel could answer this. Who are the queens that you feel like are your favorites or your top 4? I have mine, but I want y'all to go first.
Yeah, I'll go. So I have Candy Muse. I see Denali personally just because I like stan her. I see it for Olivia Lux because Olivia Lux is like very impressive for the first 2 episodes that she's been on. And I also see it for Simone because Simone is like, she's killing it. She has like that charisma, that attitude, but it's very like personable. I really like her.
I agree. I have mine. I live for Gottmik. Like, I just love her fashion. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, how could you call her? And I'm glad they brought that up in last night's episode in regards of like the she, he, they, them pronouns or whatever, is that in our community, we refer to each other as she. Like, Lindsay calls me at work, like, what is her problem? Oh, she, this, that, it says it in front of everybody, and I'm like, bitch.
Yeah. I mean, I said the same thing about you when I was like, I'm waiting for her email. She better respond. Like, I do this all the time. When someone walks in real angry, we both be like, oh, she has an attitude today.
I refer to inanimate objects. I'm like, oh, that lamp? Yeah, she's on. Yeah, turn her on real quick. Like, anything isn't her.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so offensive. And one of the things I'm glad, because you know how these new generation gays are. All of a sudden, you know, a lot of our generations before us, and even of my generation, fought on the sidelines in regards of, you know, to make it easier for the younger kids to come up and be themselves. They want to come in and try to dictate how things are. And to me, I always feel like to be like, because Gottmik is a trans male and you can't refer to him as a she, when in our community that's what we refer to gay men as, or especially people in the drag community, to say that, oh, because he was born female at birth, who transitioned into a man who does drag, you cannot refer to him as a she because that's his original gender. To me, that's bullshit. Because, and he even said it, he was just like, when I'm in drag, I'm a she. Or when I'm amongst a community of the girls, I'm a she, even though I don't identify as that. And so if people want to sit and get twisted up in these pronouns and saying that this is, you can't come at people in that way, I think it's ridiculous and I think it's stupid. And if he doesn't have a problem with it, then everybody else shouldn't have a problem with it either. So that's why I'm glad that when he had that one-on-one with Olivia, that they came to that and they brought it to the forefront, because you know how these girls get when it comes to the Drag Race fandom. Sometimes I'm the one to smack the shit out of these bitches. Like, y'all get a look. Hey Nadine, how you doing? She's on the line.
No, listen, I agree. And the thing we also have to understand is we have to respect one another. If someone finds it offensive, or if someone does not like to be, let's say, called a she in that type of way, I totally get it. But we can't be arms and getting angry up and at them like this and shaking our hands or shaking our heads and cursing somebody out when they themselves are comfortable. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're calling me a she, if I'm stumping into the room and I have an attitude and you say, well, she has an attitude, and I'm accepting that term, then that's the part where people need to understand that just as much as I have to respect your opinion, respect that I'm okay with that. You understand what I'm saying? Certain words that can be offensive, I get it. But if the community you're with or your group of people that you're with is using that, as long as it's amongst each other, then you can't say not to say it, or you feel some type of way, because I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh yeah, I don't think I said all of mine, but it's Gottmik, Simone. I love Olivia Lux, even though I don't think she's my top 4, but I like everything they're giving so far. And I live for Tina Burner, because Tina Burner is a legend in New York, so gotta give her props. And I do like oh my god, I just forgot her goddamn name. Aja's daughter.
Candy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right now,
I love Candy Muse, and I do. Wait, say it again.
I said those are the only two right now, is Tina Burner and Candy, but that's because I have more of a history. I know who they are, these New York queens. You know what I'm saying? I have to get more invested with everyone else. I have to be fair. But...
Yeah, there was some controversy last week over something that she said, and then I saw that Aja went to her IG live and responded in regards of Candy saying that, oh, she's this and she's that, but to be honest, if it wasn't for Aja, we would know who Candy is, and we wouldn't have known who Miss Thing that got chopped first episode of last season. What's her name? Her other daughter.
Oh,
Dahlia Sin.
Dahlia.
I just hope that she doesn't. That's not her storyline. I hope she doesn't have to keep bringing up Aja and Dahlia throughout the thing. I want to see more of Candy and less of that, especially if you're gonna say that like the house is disbanded and like you're doing your own things now. You brought it up in episode 1, you brought it up in episode 2. Let's drop it there. Let's see Candy, see you.
This is my favorite outfit from Tina, because she, as the Tin Man, she didn't come out with that orange and the fire on the nose look. What did y'all think of the Candy Muse J-Lo lobster suit in the cell look? Because that's what she was giving me.
I wasn't getting that until you said it. I think it was a miss. Both looks on the runway were a miss. But it's a bad week. Everyone has a bad week.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. There were some choices made on that.
You know what? We're gonna go extra hard after episode 4. Like once one of these goes home, then we're like, you know what? Well, now everyone's safe, so it's like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, everybody is safe. I like the performance of Congratulations. I did think that it was obvious when we saw that Candy messed up with the choreography. And it's funny, and she told another girl prior to the performance that, oh, don't show it on your face if you mess up. And she did the exact thing, which I thought was hilarious.
I caught it.
Yeah, I love this look from Gottmik, the pride skirt. And I love Simone's boxer look too. She gave me like with that.
I want to like Gottmik, but she's giving me like she's gonna get the kimchi edit, in which she's very talented in the makeup, and she's gonna probably make it to the end, but not be the winner at the end.
Well, word on the street is I hear she's not going to be the winner, but I don't know if I should jump the boom boom gun in this one. I did hear that that on All Stars season 6, because that is the next one, right? Sometimes I lose track. There's a damn All Stars every goddamn season when they need to give it at least 2 years before they bring another one. Word on the street that there is oh my God, I forgot her name, and I saw her perform when I was living in LA.
Talking about Monique.
Yes. Word on the street is she wins All Star 6.
That she wins?
Monique wins All Star 6?
That's the rumor.
Well, let me buckle up because I'm interested to see that.
I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but Miss Eureka's on that season too. So, yeah. I think I might have to look that up, the list of the queens.
This outfit is terrible. Everything about it is terrible. Throw it away.
Is it?
You think that's terrible?
Terrible.
Wait, hold on. Let me look for it because I believe I have the list of queens that is on All Star 6.
Bro.
You're talking about this? No, you have to see it like not in a photo.
Okay. It's
very Babs.
Who? Oh, yeah. She was giving me. I don't know if I got what the hell is I don't think I got the girls from Zion in the Matrix. First of all, whenever I thought of Zion, when we saw it in the Matrix Reloaded, I'm like, I don't want to go to Zion. I want to live in the Matrix. Like them outfits they had to wear and them eating the net that looked like jizz in a bowl. I don't want to be eating that. I don't want to live like that. Give me the steak, as Cypher said. But
I've never seen the Matrix.
I've never seen any of the Matrix.
The first one I saw.
Oh. Well, they're making a 4th, but see, I might want to catch up. Or they made a 4th when it comes out this year on HBO Max. But the list of alleged queens that are going to be on, it's Ginger Minge, Silky, Jiggly, Trinity K. Bonet, Jan, Pandora Box, Yara Sophia, Sonique, Akira, Raja O'Hara, Eureka, and Scarlet Envy.
Ginger Minge was already nothing.
She didn't win though.
As was Latrice, as was Manila, as was all these people. Yara Sophia was as well.
They were already on. You know what it is? I'm beginning to really think it's because the other 90 queens are just like, no. So like, okay, we gotta make something happen. How many more times are they gonna join All Stars? How many more times are we gonna give it like after the 7th try you're gonna win? Like, no.
This is why the queens are no's. Like a good 50 of them are just no, we don't need them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certain queens that they mentioned that I don't care to see. But I mean, if it's entertaining, I'll watch it. Now, speaking of other queens and things of that nature of shows, so apparently, what is it? Oh, so RuPaul gave his thoughts on Gottmik's Drag Race casting in an interview that he did with. I also heard that their ratings were the biggest that they've had yet. They didn't say what the number was, but they said that the ratings were huge on the premiere. So he did an interview with Late Show with Stephen Colbert and said the following. He said, what's the biggest lesson that he's learned from doing Drag Race for 13 seasons? And he said, it's to keep an open mind. I walked into this thing with an idea of what drag is, and the kids have a different idea. They keep changing it. This season, we have a trans man who is on our show who is competing with the other drag queens, and this man is fantastic, fantastic. So, Ru continued, I keep moving with what the kids are doing. While I think baby, you know what? I'm going to reserve my thoughts on that. I got a lot to say. So with him saying this, do y'all think it's about damn time? Too little, too late? Like, what are your thoughts on him all of a sudden coming to this revelation that trans people, even though he's been doing drag since before, dinosaurs roamed the earth, drag has always had trans people performing it. Who's that, little Kim?
That's a perfect look for what we're about to say. I felt like we've had this discussion
We did last week,
and I still stand and I feel the same way. But what he has said recently now in this interview is that he's saying he's going with what the kids are doing. But what pisses me off about this is I'm sure throughout the years, a lot of trans people have auditioned for this show. So you're saying that you gave them all the chop, didn't give them a chance because you didn't hear the kids saying we need more diverse people in our community to come out and audition and try to win this contest. So my thing is, so how far behind are we going to be? This goes back to what I was saying last week. It's like you're so behind for a show that's really pushing boundaries and on a big giant network and getting all these awards. You need to be ahead of the game. You need to be on top of it and go with those gut instincts. That the kids are always changing it. It's too much of an excuse, because if that's the case, then be like the Madonna, break barriers. If you fail, then you be the first to do whatever it was that failed, or if you succeed, then you could be that first person to have helped this person get to fame. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just would make more sense. I didn't like that comment, but that's Rue's response to why it took so long, and I guess us kids needs to continue shouting at Mama Rue.
Well, she'd probably move a lot faster if there was some fracking involved. So, Remy, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like he's not going with what the kids are talking about, because the kids have been talking about this for several seasons now, like prior. I think he's more so going with the competition, and it's like the Boulets had not a trans person. They had a drag king, and they're like, okay, well, let's see, how can we top that? Let's go with a trans person, despite people have been saying that for several years. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's looking for the next one-up factor, and I feel like it's a little too late.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like what Lindsay said last week. It's sort of like you are supposed to be this show that's progressive, and you're just trying to go. And to me, it's like I do agree it's too little, too late. But I want to say this: Rue doesn't have to change the show if he doesn't want to. The whole concept of his version of Drag Race is men transitioning themselves into. It's about gender expression, gender illusion. So these are illusionists. These are cis men who are, dressing up as the opposite gender. It's supposed to be campy. It's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be that. And as the show has gone along, it feels like it's progressed and manifested into something else. So I do like the idea of him having someone like a Gottmik on, which is a trans male, someone who was born female who transitioned to male, who dresses in drag as a sort of financial compensation. I understand why we have like the detoxes and so many of the girls from previous seasons who are very vocal on Twitter when they talk about why it that they don't have AFAB queens or drag kings. To me, it just seems like when AFAB girls come on, to me, no shade, just saying, to me, it feels like cosplay. Like, to me, it's you're already a woman.
Yeah.
So you put on more makeup to make yourself look like an exaggerated version of a woman. To me, that's not gender illusion. You're already a woman. You identify as a woman, Bob the Builder, and then as a female, and then you want to transition yourself into Jessica Rabbit. Okay, that is pulling a rabbit out of your ass. But to me, that is not, in my opinion, what this show wants to represent, that art of drag. They want to keep it simple, to try to bring in all these little things and makes it complicated for the Joel and Jill beer cans, who in so many ways this show tries to cater to, because let's face it, Drag Race is more of a Disney-fied version of drag. What I would really like to see is more representations of drag on television. I like to see different types of shows. I got some ideas. I ain't gonna say them on here because people are watching, thieves. But I like to see different shows that show different arts of drag. Drag Race should not be the only show that showcases and highlights drag. I do love the fact that we have Dragula, but it keeps getting moved around to different damn, streaming services every time they come up. I know they don't have the budget like World of Wonder and VH1, and they don't have that kind of backing, but I do love that we have that show. I like to see different, like I said, different aspects of drag. But the fact of the matter is, I guess he wants to fit it in the concept of these. And yes, we've had trans people who have been on the show over the years, but a lot of them have come out as trans when they were either competing. And I know a lot of people say that Peppermint was the very first trans person to compete on the show, but I could have sworn that Peppermint was never truly open about her transition until she was competing on the show, if I'm not mistaken.
I only know of Peppermint. I only know of her. I only know more of her because of the show, so I couldn't say.
I mean, maybe people know, and maybe people knew Peppermint was transitioning or trans at the time, but when I was watching the show, that's when I found out that she was trans. And even in the confessional, she wasn't wearing like, she wasn't, well, look, we already had this conversation about that you don't have to look trans to be identified, that you could be dressed a certain way and you can still look like a full-on boy, but up in your mind, if you say that you're trans, then you're trans. So aesthetically speaking, when you're on the show, we don't know until you tell us. So yes, with RuPaul's Drag Race, I do like that they're evolving in other ways. I don't know if they're going to bring on drag kings or AFAB queens and stuff. I don't know if they're going to go in that direction. But the idea of having trans men who dress in drag come on the show, and someone like Got Mick being revolutionary, if they're going to step in that direction and try different things that way, then I'm all for it. But I do agree, it's a little too late. Or maybe some people say better late than never. And yeah. So there's also word, since we're going to move on, we got a lot of Drag Race news apparently. RuPaul is apparently quarantining in New Zealand to start shooting Drag Race Australia. So according to Express Magazine, RuPaul has flown into New Zealand for quarantine and filming in order to host the franchise. Drag Race Australia will film there due to some restrictions still in place in Australia as a result of the ongoing global pandemic. The history-making Emmy Award-winning host will direct 12 queens through 10 episodes. It's worth it to note that Ru's husband, George Labar, is Australian. They're saying that the show premieres, well, it's going to air on Stan in Australia, and of course it's going to air on a streaming service that Remy has called Wow Presents Plus. He'll keep us abreast of like what's going on as weeks go on of Drag Race. What's the one that's coming on soon? UK? Oh yeah, season 2. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So they have that coming on, and they just announced that we're getting Drag Race Canada, a second season. So they're saying the reason why that they're allowing him to host the Australia version because of all the controversy that's surrounding Canada's Drag Race, where hardcore fans were not pleased with the judging decisions. Some criticized comments and critiques by panelists like Jeffrey Boyer Chapman, who functioned as one of the group of hosts, but is not known as a drag performer. But here's the gag on that. So they have a problem with Jeffrey Boyer Chapman giving his opinions on drag. But last time I checked, Ross Matthews and the other one, Carson Kressley, does not tuck their dick behind their ass cheeks and dress in a gown. So how are they qualified? But this black man over on Canada is not. So I see the racism, and we already spoke about, well, we haven't spoken about it, but we're aware of the ongoing racism that happens with this damn show. And a lot of y'all that be watching behind your fucking keyboards that have a problem with the black queens, but when the white queens do the same shit, y'all stand them. So, but I will say this. I do not like the way they do Canada's Drag Race. I don't like the fact that they have no host. They got a celebrity host that comes in. Like, why? That's stupid, number one. We need somebody like, I don't know who the biggest drag queen in Canada is, but I could have had her host, or have RuPaul, since she loves a check, have her come over to Canada and host that season, or I was even thinking, why don't you have like some of the Drag Race alum from America come in as a guest host? Do that. I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think about Canada's Drag Race? Because we haven't spoken about that show at all. But since we're here, did you guys overall like Canada's Drag Race? Me, I didn't particularly care for it. I love that Priyanka one. I lived with some of the girls that was on there, but I just didn't like the way they set up with the whole judging format. I just didn't like the way that was set up.
Yeah. But I feel like that's also like Drag Race, what is it, Thailand or something?
I heard that was canceled.
Oh, it got canceled, but it had the same format. You know what it is? It's almost like those companies when it becomes, is the right word, a franchise. Like, you know, when anyone can buy this this company like a Dunkin' Donuts. You said it doesn't run by the same management. It's bought by different people,
Yeah.
and they run it their own way. They say they serve the same donuts, let's say, but it's ran differently. I feel like when it comes to Drag Race, it's if RuPaul is not going to be hosting, is not going to be on it, then you're not going to get that RuPaul vision. It's going to be whoever the executive producers are, and they're going to lay it out. That's my opinion on it. So you can't really compare it to the actual RuPaul's Drag Race in the States or the UK version.
It is interesting though because Drag Race Holland, it didn't have RuPaul as a guest judge. It had Fred, not quite sure what the last name is to be quite
It had a guy on there.
But he was someone, he was on, where's the fire? You know what it is? The tea's too hot. The tea's too hot and the fire department got to come put it
We're
out.
going to get the clink clink real quick.
Okay.
But like Miss Luann de Lesseps, I know how to escape out of that.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
But no, it was in the sense that like it wasn't RuPaul hosting, but it was someone who I guess in a sense did have drag expertise because they are a drag queen. I don't know what caliber of drag queen they were, but apparently they're famous in the Netherlands. Fred, whoever the host was.
Mm-hmm.
That is different than Drag Race Canada in the sense that Drag Race Canada was more of a consensus decision in which the 3 appointed judges were like, okay, let's get a group decision as opposed to one person making one decision with the commentary from other people on the panel. So I don't know. I personally like Canada. I felt like it was a refreshing season. I felt like the shade and the constant, oh, I'm sorry, like afterwards was pretty funny because it's like you're being shady, but you're apologizing because that's kind of like the Canadian way. And you get to see like how a different culture is, like a different type of drag in Canada is. You wouldn't see that out here because everybody out here in New York is like very, very similar.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's funny how in New York we celebrate individuality, but when you look at it, I can't tell it's Alexis Michelle from Alexis Mateo, and Alexis Mateo ain't even from here. But a lot of the drag, or maybe I should just say, Alexis Michelle from a Rosé, because all of y'all wear the big wigs and the gowns, and a lot of you queens are starting to look alike. So sometimes when I watch Drag Race, I can't tell these bitches apart. But I do agree that I did actually I like Drag Race Canada. I like I said, I love that Priyanka won. You know, I liked oh my god, what was her name? Bobo, Scarlett Bobo.
Bobo,
I like Boba Fett.
Bobo.
I like Scarlett Bobo.
Scarlett Bobo is very you, Lindsay. Scarlett Bobo is very your type of aesthetic in a sense.
Maybe that's why I liked her so much. Bobo was for me. That was my kind of.
I liked the show. I just didn't like how they set up the whole judges situation. I just felt like I didn't like the guest celebrity host person coming in. Like Tom Green, really? Like, no ma'am. That was just not working for me. So I feel like they need a official host, and we'll see how season 2. But I also didn't like how they treated Jeffrey on the show. Like he was just the one person that y'all just wanted to go in and hate on But then again, you know, there were criticisms that he was trying to sound like Alaska and RuPaul, like he wasn't really being himself. He was being a little phony, which I could kind of get that. But all the hate and stuff that came from there was just ridiculous. So, speaking of which, what's her name? Michelle Visage revealed 4 gay icons who they have been trying to get to come on Drag Race, but they've turned it down consistently, which I'm a little upset about. There's some I would really love to see them on the show. So she says, just to let everybody know, we have asked Dolly Parton for 11, 12, 13 years. At the end of the day, it's scheduling and it's a very long day for these people. Just to calm everybody down, we do ask Cher, we do ask Madonna, we do ask Liza, we do ask Dolly, we ask everybody, and scheduling is always the conflict. It took years to get Gaga, but we got her. So, I'd love to see Cher and Madonna on the show. I mean, we've seen I mean, we've gotten closer to Cher. I mean, what was it? Then we got Chaz Bono and her grandmother, Lorna Lufto, in season 6. Mm-hmm. Sidebar: did y'all know that they removed an episode of Drag Race season 6, the one on the Bianca Del Rio season?
I saw that.
I heard of the wedding episode. Is that correct? Yeah, what was all about? I have no idea why that was. I know it was circulating about.
I don't know either, but of course, my Facebook sleuths, they went and I posted it and they wrote why it was removed. And they said it's something or another that the black guy that they had on there is homophobic. And there was issues, but we got that from watching the episode. Yeah. He wasn't clearly excited about dressing up as a woman, and we heard the little things, but I thought they came to a little resolution at the end. I don't like this by let's remove it and not deal, removing things solves the issue. I feel like hash it out or whatever. But then there was also another thing where there was something to do with the makeup. The makeup looked a little silvery, whatever the case was. I don't know if y'all heard anything different. Let me know.
He did look a little metallic-y, but
they didn't have a skin tone.
Didn't have the right skin tone.
No, I feel
Jocelyn Fox was responsible for him.
Don't have white girls painting black people. That's doing that and doing the hair. That's why we always had Annalise wearing a wig on How to Get Away with Murder.
So she peeled that bitch off and removed the makeup, and she did every season.
I mean, listen, I think they were smart for. I agree. They should have just left it. It's what happens with filmed, but I think they did it, based off. Listen, over the summer, people were rewatching Top Model from season 1, and Tyrus and the judges were starting to get hate mail, and people were getting upset. People were getting upset with episodes that they've seen of these models getting treated a certain type of way. And mind you, this is from 20 years ago, and people were getting hyped about it, and people were offended. And we're in a very sensitive environment over the last, I'm gonna say 5 years. So it's like, I think
it's like this Me Too movement has given people permission to just all of a sudden have these revelations. But I always said, like I said many a time before, I need people to stop looking at shit that happened 20 years ago that we accepted, even though I'm not saying it's right. We shouldn't look at what's going on with 2020 eyes on something that happened 20 years ago. But
I agree with you. I totally agree with you 100%. And what I was going to say is I strongly believe that is the reason why they took it off. Because if you see the episode, he was saying some comments. He was saying that he was uncomfortable. It was very homophobic, and the way he looks was bad. I feel that those viewers who are going to feel some type of way are going to say, why didn't RuPaul say anything about it? Or why didn't production say anything about this? You let it film and no one reprimanded him, even though we don't know what was said behind the scenes, but it was aired and nothing was said, and they're going to be offended. So I think they were very smart. I mean, I don't personally feel like they needed to do it, but they were smart to save their booties from doing that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we're in a politically correct society. But Remy, what were you going to say?
No, from a selfish standpoint, I'm saying that I don't feel like they should have removed it solely because if I'm new to this franchise and I'm trying to binge watch it and see everything that's going on, if you remove an episode now, I don't know what happened. I'll get the recap from next week. But at the same time, it's like, if I'm going to invest my time into the show, I want to see what happened. And like you said, it's already filmed. It happened 2000, what was it, like 2010, 2011? It happened already. Like, the most we can do is view it, see where it was wrong, and not allow it to happen in the future.
Exactly. And invoke the conversation. So we have the conversation, because when I went online, I wrote, so they removed this episode, what's the tea? What's going on? And of course, I have people in the comments writing what it was that happened. So to me, it invokes a conversation. It lets us know what's going on, and we can have this thing. And that's what I feel is the point. Instead of people just getting on social media, it's like, oh, these are just tropes, and I disagree, and you need to be canceled, and all this other bullshit that goes along with it. When you cancel things, it doesn't solve the problem.
It's canceling that word.
You can't cancel a person.
That's exactly what I said. You cannot cancel people. You can cancel a show. You can cancel, basically, you can cancel things and anything. You cannot cancel a person, because when you don't deal with the bullshit of the person that said whatever it is they said, they take their job away, take away this, take away that, they're still going to have those animosity. They're still going to have those feelings instead of sitting down and having that dialogue with them and letting them know that, yes, what you said is wrong. What you said is inappropriate and all that good stuff. So we still got some more drag race news. We come back, we're going to talk about Miss Vanjie and Silky Nutmeg Ganache and Shangela all under fire for not, partying without wearing masks. They're not social distancing, all this other stuff. So the drag girls are being dragged on social media for partying when they shouldn't be, especially when not all of us got this vaccine. We also got some news on Trinity The Tuck and Farrah Moan fighting over should drag queens be taking gigs in this time of, Miss Rona. So we got that. Also, we got some Kim Kardashian news, Married to Medicine, Andy Cohen. Yeah, Miss Andy Cohen. Word on the street, Miss Thing got a sex tape floating around. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more On the Line with myself, Kris Avalon, and my co-hosts, Mr. Remy and Miss Lindsay Aguilera. I'm going to go get me a refill on this drink.
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
Well, hello. Welcome back from that very gay break. You know, we're still working out them kinks with the technical stuff. Whatever. But yes, we back, girls. Let's bring in Remy and Miss Lindsay. They're back. My special guest. Wait, where it went?
Ooh.
Come back. Come back. Baby, come back. Okay, so hello. Thank you.
I didn't like
I'm like,
I'm waiting.
I feel like the girl on the first episode of Drag Race, there for 20 minutes and gone.
We didn't get to know you. So apparently Trinity The Tuck and Miss Farrah Moan are fighting. They took the shit to social media. And Trinity apparently, she could just say whatever she wanted to say to people, but the minute you try to say something to rebuttal, the bitch want to block. So apparently she could dish it, but she can't take it. So she went and I sent you the tweets, so you're aware. So she said, unless you're going to pay my bills, then I should just shut the fuck up about me doing what I have to do to survive. I understand the situation of the world, and unfortunately, our government can't get their shit together. It makes it better, or together and make it better. Okay, that'll make sense. To make it better faster. My job is no different than a server or someone. Pause. Drag queens are not essential workers. They're not servers unless you work at Hamburger Mary's. That's different. Who works retail at a grocery store? Unfortunately, it's a job that requires me to be in the proximity of people. What I can do is, or I should say Lips, because Lips is basically a drag cabaret bar, and they have drag queens who serve. When I've been to Hamburger, I take that back. When I've been to Hamburger Mary's, the drag queens basically perform. They have a wait staff and all other stuff in there. What I can do is my best to follow guidelines and hold people around me accountable to do the same. I won't apologize for trying to survive when I haven't. And Farrah Moan went on to say, being a nightlife entertainer is not an essential job. None of us can pay our bills right now. It is so unimaginably selfish to put people's health at risk for a gig when literally everyone's trying to do their part and hospitals are starting to overfill, but whatever, LOL. And then she put, oh my God, Trinity blocked me. And she goes, I'm actually genuinely surprised. I tried to word everything as respectful as possible. Literally, I know people who are barely holding on to their lives right now in ICUs in LA County has 0 beds available. This is the worst pandemic that it's ever been. Oh, and Trinity went on to say this. She said, if that's your opinion, Vera, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to let my house go into foreclosure. Something that I've worked very hard to get that I never had before. What I can do is follow guidelines as much as possible. We don't agree on this one. Sorry. And the funny part about it is, doesn't Detox own a house too? So I don't see her out here doing gigs. I mean, unless she is, and I haven't heard. But what do you think about drag queens putting their lives at risk? I mean, let's be honest, quiet as kept, we put our lives at risk every day. When we're out there going to work, we are essential workers. We work in the service industry in one way or another, but we do follow the guidelines of wearing masks and this, that, and the other. Should drag queens be held to a different standard? And so what say you on this whole situation? Whoever wants to go first. Lindsay.
Yeah. Oof, messing up already. Stop your drinking. No, listen.
I'm going about her government. Sorry.
No, listen. I understand what Farrah has to say, and the thing about Farrah is Farrah didn't say anything nasty. This goes back to, I think we had a conversation, something similar to this last week when I was telling you about it's all about respect. The way I speak to you is how you should talk back to me or respond back to me. If I'm going to be a nasty cunt, then I can be upset when you're going to be just as nasty to me. Just be ready. I will throw you some summer eves at you. But my thing is, if I'm polite and I'm being nice and I am telling you, hey, I don't like this. This is not okay. And I'm passionate about it. You should be able to respect my opinion. Trinity came a little too hard for me and was being a little more nasty, more like a bully. But with that being said, listen, at the end of the day, if I can be honest, I wouldn't like to be working myself. I don't feel safe ever. As much as I could put up a front at work and I do everything that I need to do, I don't feel safe. But I do it because I need my job. I do it because I need my check. I do it because I need to make my living. And that's where I totally understand where Trinity is coming from. Yes, Trinity won Drag Race. Trinity is one of the top drag queens who should have been saving her money in all the
Well, she had to
bookings that
split it with Monet. Let's be frank.
well,
I thought
regardless,
She co-won.
she is a
Wait, say that
winner.
again?
She has been getting more bookings, but what I'm trying to say is she has a reason to do it. She's saying it herself. Her house can be a foreclosure or whatnot. Whatever the thing is, we can't be counting people's money. She's saying she needs to work. She did mention, however, that she does follow the guideline, and I feel a drag queen or anybody who is a performer, an actor, whatever, is no different. But movies are still being made, TV shows are still being made, and RuPaul's Drag Race was made during this pandemic this past summer, and they follow protocol. What I'm saying is, if Trinity is saying, hey, I am following the protocol, then we should respect that that is what she is doing. Now, you may not like it, and I totally understand it, but she has to make her living as well. We can't also forget that drag queens, real drag performer, that is their career, which means if no one's calling them to say, hey, come to this club and do a show, they don't have another job to fall back. You know what I'm saying? I have a career after this. I have a real job after this, and this is the career I want to go on, but I'm not letting go of my day job, let's say. Some of these queens make this a priority. This is their day job, their night job, their brand. This is what they live and breathe. And from what I'm understanding, Trinity is one of those drag queens. So it will not come easy for her. Her working at as a cashier or working at a restaurant is not for her, and we have to respect it. But like I said, as long as she's following the guideline like she says, then who are we to say you can't perform? Now, I think what Farrah is trying to say is, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was seeing some videos somebody posted up on a Snap or on Instagram where the Ritz was having a show, and this was like a month ago, and closed spaces.
Wait, the Ritz in New York?
This wasn't outside. This was indoors.
Did they get shut down?
Well, maybe because of that. They showed the clip. Some people.
Wait, Remy said no.
Some people weren't.
I could have sworn I heard the Ritz got closed, or there was something with in-house kitchen that got raided by the cops and they shut it down. I can't remember which one it was.
I think you're talking about Posh.
Oh yeah, it was Posh.
It was Posh, but the Ritz did that, and it's like, whoa,
a mutual friend of mine and Remy's favorite go-to spot. I'm not gonna say his name. We used to work with each other at the Big Apple Circus. That's the the little droplet. Yes. I'll leave there. But go ahead. You had to take a sip of that.
No. What I'm saying is they clearly wasn't following protocol, and that got me upset because I dearly want to be outside. I want to be hanging out. I want to be in the clubs. I want to perform in clubs. I want to be drinking and hugging people, but I can't. And I see people doing that. I'm like, you're so careless. You're so careless. You're so careless. But a few months ago, in certain places, they were having like outdoor drag, like the drive-in drag or something. Everyone in their own cars, and the shows were being done like that. And I think that's what Trinity is doing, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I need these bookings. So that's where I fall when it comes to this argument. But I still do feel that Trinity came a little too harsh for Farrah, who was just being passionate about her opinion.
I agree in the sense that I do feel like she came a little too hard. But I also agree in that I don't feel like we're in a place where we can go to a closed space like the Ritz, which is just like a small shoebox in a sense where they hold all their drag stuff with other people, despite social distancing, despite masks, because you don't know what people got, and like people are even careless. They're out here doing what they got to do during the pandemic to help them get by day to day, regardless of COVID restrictions or anything like that. So someone who could be asymptomatic or whatever the case is could potentially put someone else at risk just because we wanted to see a drag show. I don't agree with that. With like the open spaces and everything, like the drive-through drag shows or like the outdoor ones, yeah, that's I guess that's better, question mark, in a sense, because it's like open air. But I feel like there are other ways to make income by doing drag, whether it's doing things on a YouTube channel if you got the following, if you're making music, whatever. Everyone has their own ventures, and I feel like to be out in public during a drag show, maybe not so much, but channel something else and do that. And I feel like Trinity's one of these girls. She has like what 1 point something million followers on Instagram. Like you have the following, you won. Farrah Moan came like sixth, and then like what 12th or 13th, like 11th. So you can't really compare the two. Farrah Moan is more of a look queen. She has her limited skill. Trinity has a bigger following. Trinity has a bigger, just based off the fact alone that she won, she has a bigger skills, a bigger following. So she's able to get things easier than someone like Farrah Moan would, or like.
And I was actually going to say that what you're implying. I was going to say that it's like, wait a minute, Trinity has a bigger platform. Quiet as it's kept, word on the street is she was going to win that whole season. And so of course the fans started going off with their shit, and they decided the last second with that horrible ass editing, let's give it to her and Monet. We ain't gonna get into that whole thing.
Yeah,
like y'all go back and watch the old thing. But I agree with you on that. To me, I feel like there's so many other ways that you can make your money besides going out to nightclubs. They train you on Drag Race, on the art of merch. Why didn't you create new merchandise and try to be selling that for $25, $30? As you know, we've been to DragCon, so we know how much they charge these girls be charging people for the merch. Create the website, have your t-shirts, your tampon line, whatever the fuck it is that y'all design. Put that up there. Also, like we just said with the Wait, say it again.
Like, Angela is making hand sanitizer. Like people are getting creative. You could just make face masks and profit off of that. You could you could do little things.
I was thinking about us doing that for our show. But the name we're not gonna bring up yet until March.
I have a question. Based on what you guys are saying, like with Trinity being the winner and clearly has these many followers as opposed to Farrah Moan, and Farrah Moan is the one who's like, I don't think we should be performing. Now my question to you guys is, do you think that this, when it comes to Trinity, that she is acting as entitled? Like, is she being one of those Karens who's like, I don't need to wear a mask.
Yes,
and I can do it. And
I mean, I don't know if she's wearing masks at these performances. I have seen Instagram stories of drag queens who are wearing those clear masks. I've seen them advertising all over Instagram. They're wearing the mask so we can see them lip sync in the performance. So the girls are, doing the precautions. I have drag friends who are performing in clubs that were performing over the summer at in Fire Island, and there was nobody literally in the club, but they were performing and they were recording it, and people were outside watching it from there. So there are ways that's going around it. Also, I was thinking that why not? There are people who are doing online drag performances. Like I have drag friends who are doing shows online. Like we saw Laganja did one. Who else did one? One of my drag friends, Shavante McClinton. Like there's a lot of drag girls. Exactly. A lot of them are doing performances online and dropping their Venmos. Like we got Kevin Avians doing DJ sets on freaking Instagram. So there are ways, and Twitch, because Instagram be blowing mine when it comes to like licensing and other shit, and Facebook is the worst. Shout out to you, Facebook. I know we are streaming live on here, but sometimes it's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there are ways you can get around to making your money. Like you don't need necessarily to be in a nightclub. There are queens, creative queens, who have figured out ways to put on shows. We even saw it on the finale of Drag Race last season, where they gave the top, top three? Because top four is thing, we ain't gonna talk about her. But the top three that they had, they gave them the setup in their apartments and they were able to put something together. And then so look, gays are supposed to be the most creative bunch out of so many people. Use your noggin. There are ways you could go about trying to create something to make it happen. So to me, I feel like there's no excuse with, I see both sides, and I appreciate the fact of having, y'all brains here, because it made me see different ways of it. And nobody is wrong in this whole situation. However, I feel like she could be a little more creative in how she can make her money. Like you don't necessarily need to rely on the old school, I need to be in a nightclub and I need to be at DragCon and I need to do this. They didn't have a DragCon last season. So there are ways you can go about making your coin. And with your popular, look, what is it? Monet is over, I think she still is, over in the UK doing a stage show. What is it called? Death Drop? She's over there doing that. So and she has a dog show. So how is it that she's able to parlay and benefit off of this win? And Miss Trinity out here getting shots and a new cement put in her ass.
Not a cement.
I feel like you said, we're in the age of digital drag. It's like, yes, going out to a club and for a crowd of 20 people, if that, is like the easiest way out. But be creative. There are people putting out music. There are people putting out hand sanitizer. There are people putting out OnlyFans accounts. Like, not saying like there are.
Oh yes! Shout out to the Vixen. Have you seen her stuff?
I have.
Funny.
And I feel like that's another conversation for another day.
It is. Oh yeah, that would be a good conversation to talk about, like the topic of. I don't know if you want to talk about it now because we got other topics to talk about. But the whole idea of people on OnlyFans and stuff. But before we do, oh yeah, that was something. Gia Gunn jumped in on that conversation too, the one with Trinity and Farrah Moan.
Oh,
and she said, "Oh, thank you for bringing up OnlyFans because I almost forgot." So Gia jumped in and was very basically Team Trinity and started saying, "Oh, but y'all be going in on people who do OnlyFans." I'm like, first of all, what the fuck does selling your ass for $5.99 on OnlyFans got to do with doing drag? I mean, I get
because some of these people have OnlyFans where they're not even having sex with people; they're just doing like drag and having like exclusive drag stuff of just that. It's like not everyone's having sex on OnlyFans, but at the same time, like a lot of people are.
True, and I think that wasn't the initial idea of what OnlyFans should be, but it just was hijacked and became this thing that people had to use because, oh my God, what was the other thing that we had that I was about to call it Pinterest. There was something else that they had where people were over there peddling their porn and promotion, and then they got shut down. They could who was it?
Tumblr.
Who?
Was it Tumblr?
Yes, Tumblr. I was like, I don't know. You kept coming up. But yes, she got the OnlyFans picture. How quick we work. But yeah, it was like Tumblr, and then all of a sudden they couldn't put stuff up, and then that's why I'm glad. Like when I can't remember stuff, y'all know exactly what I'm saying. Y'all are like the third side of my brain. So yeah, Tumblr. Then now it's OnlyFans. But I'm like, look. I don't, I'm all for the sex work. I love my hookers and I love my prostitutes. Like, however you make your money, I don't judge. I have a lot of friends that do OnlyFans. But I didn't understand why Gia had to put that in the same conversation with, I guess maybe she was saying because OnlyFans porn stars are risking their lives having sex for money when COVID is still running rampant. And quiet as it's kept, I'm not judging because, look, I haven't been exactly celibate during this whole situation either. So I can't 110% judge.
But the funny gig of it is it had nothing to do with the other. Like her bringing that up, like had this been something she said on her own, like how she tweeted it, then yeah, we could talk about it. I'm like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But apples and oranges, the conversation that these two queens were throwing at each other had nothing to do with what Gia brought up. So I was very confused on why she even bothered putting in her 2 cents. It just didn't make sense to me.
Oh yeah, we have the OnlyFans rich list, and I think at number 1 is Black China with is that 15 million pounds? Did you say who?
I was like, what's this? That's
Black China with 15. What does that say? 15 million pounds. First of all, what the hell is Black China putting on OnlyFans for her to be making that kind of coin?
The list is everyone who's ever been on Love and Hip Hop and who's ever been thought about being casted on Love and Hip Hop. Like you got Safari, Erica Mena.
Yeah, Cardi B is third. Bella Thorne is second.
Are the same people who aren't posting like videos of them having sex. They're just posting like provocative photos or like not even full out nudes and getting like. Well, Tyga's another situation. Tyga is just.
Oh yeah, I've seen Tyga stuff. I can see why Black China was up on that, and Kylie.
That being said, a lot of these people are just like raking in on the OnlyFans hype, and just like they know they're gonna get the followers. They get people who are expecting a certain amount of content from them, and they will pay the $50 to see Black China's personal.
And I had a debate about that, and I'm glad I have you guys here. We can touch on that for a second before we get to the Miss Vanjie and other stuff and Kim K. Since we are kind of we'll just go wherever the show takes us. But what do y'all think about these Cardi B's and Black Chynas coming and who was it? Lisa Ray, who ain't add nothing up there, and the Chris Browns who are peddling and using OnlyFans versus some of the people that I know, and I'm sure some of you know, who are using OnlyFans to make a living because they're not working and that sort of thing. Are you for it? Are you against it? Whoever wants to go first. But I'll start with Remy.
I feel like you got to do what you got to do at this point. You use it however you want to use it. I feel like a lot of people, they have the fan base, they have the following, whether they're social media famous, whether they're reality TV famous, and they know that these people want to see more of their content, whether it's sexual content, whether it's lewd content and nothing provocative. People are going to pay for it. People are going to see it. And even people who are like, no one big and just like, oh, I got 5K followers on Twitter. Let me start an OnlyFans. They know that people are going to pay for the content. So I feel like it's an easy cash grab in certain instances. When you know the body is right, when you know the appearance is right, you do what you got to do. And if you could break in on it, then go for it.
I mean, Boomer Banks puts out some good content. I am a subscriber. Oh, there was a similar person that I was subscribing to it. That you and I know, Jay's Life. Miss Thing be going in them videos. She had to go, I ain't gonna say nothing else. And Raquel says, true. So, Lindsay.
No, listen, I really don't, it doesn't affect me. I don't use it, but I don't see an issue whether you're a celebrity or not, because who are we to say you can't do this? Like, you can't promote yourself in this streaming service because this is a streaming service. It's almost like saying, why should Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner have Instagram accounts getting millions and millions of likes when the no ones get maybe 10 likes? You know what I'm saying? Like that's it does not matter. You get followers the way you do, you work with the way you do, and as it's your account. At the end of the day, we decide if we want to follow you or not. So I don't see any issues with it. And some people like the Lisa Ray who post 0, well then that's on them and that's on her.
And she charged them $15 to look at nothing on her OnlyFans.
Well, listen, that happens everywhere. You can't just think of, you choose to want to post what you want to post. Now, people get there and they get mad because they think you're going to be posting stuff that is not suitable for public viewings, but it doesn't happen that way. But at the end of the day, it's, I chose to post it and you chose to follow. Now, if you don't like it, then get out. But if you do, stay on it, but you can't complain. And a lot of these people are complaining because they wanted something, like how the whole Chris Brown, when he came up a few months ago doing it, everyone
put it. They were going to see dick pics. Well, you could just Google his name and it pops up.
And was pissed that he was only promoting his music or like SoundCloud
or artwork and stuff. Exactly. You can use OnlyFans for whatever you want. That's the thing that people don't realize. And if you don't like the content, here's the gag, what some of y'all don't realize. You know, there's a little thing that they created called choice. So yeah, he may have your $9.99 for the month, but you can cancel it, and then at the end of the month, he won't get your money. So if you don't like the content that's on that particular person's OnlyFans, can't like unsubscribe. You can do that. They won't continue to take your money. That's the great thing about things like OnlyFans and Just for Fans and For My Fans and fans, whatever other little side thing that they have. I'm all for sex work. Not everybody wants to sit about, exactly, in the words of Tatiana, choices. As Raquel says, yes, choice. So if you don't want to, if you go on there and there's been to place. Hello, what the hell was that? Anyway, I'm like, honey,
somebody didn't agree with what we were saying.
The devil is busy. So, oh, sorry. The computer froze. So yeah, you know, sometimes we have little glitches. I mean, this is what happens when you do a show online. Technology. It's good for things, sucks in other situations. But yes, what was I saying? Oh, so I'm all for people. Look, not everybody wants to sit and make $16, $15 an hour doing retail. That ain't always going to pay the bills. Sometimes times it's hard. And if you got assets that you want to use to make your coin on top of whatever, then go ahead and do it. I don't judge. I'm all for, like I said, I have friends that I know that they've done sexual stuff. I have subscribed to their OnlyFans because I want to see the goodies, and maybe like look, there have been situations where I've been invited to do videos, but look, I'm a legitimate queen. I'm trying not to go with that direction. I'm trying to do things the right way.
Like,
I'm trying to behave myself. Wait, so what happened?
Sometimes just seeing is more than enough. I just need to see it one time and I'm good.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. Sometimes I'll be seeing certain people like, I just want to see what you're working with. And if you, exactly. So we've all, I don't know, I'll speak for myself. I don't know if y'all want to chime in and say it, but I have subscribed to people's OnlyFans because I've been curious to see like how my friends get down with the get down. And I'm like, okay, I'm impressed. That was enough. Let me move on. Let me unsubscribe. But yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for the, whatever you like it, I love it. So I don't know. Y'all want to add anything else before we move on to Miss Vanjie and Silky?
No, no. Listen, I'm not. You love it. That's great, but I'm not gonna be snooping on anything. I don't want to see none of those goodies.
Oh, because you're a good Christian woman, right? I need to find my damn fan. I don't know where the hell it was. My friend Jovan Avians gave me a fucking fan when he came from Spain to visit in New York, and I cannot find that goddamn fan. I'm pissed. But anyway, so RuPaul's Drag Race stars Shangela, Vanessa Vanjie Mateo, Silky Nutmeg Ganache have suffered stinging criticism for allegedly partying in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The funny part of this is I wanted to call it PV, but honey, I'm going to just say Puerto Vallarta. I may say PV. So in case y'all want to know, PV means Puerto Vallarta. Because how many times I had to tell people, what's PV mean? What's PV? Funny. Puerto Vallarta. Like, get with it. Anyway. So photographs of Shangela uploaded to Instagram showed her at a beach club in PV, a resort town in the western state of Jalisco. I forgot to send production the damn picture. So we could have had it up here. I think when y'all start talking, I'm gonna find the photo and I'm gonna send it so we can try to get it on with the show so y'all can see what we're talking about. But so while video footage appeared to show a maskless Vanjie and Silky who sells face masks on her merchandise store at a club. Now, Miss Thing, if you out here and you were just talking about that Remy was talking about that y'all need to be like, who'd you say that you said which queen did you say is selling masks? Was it Trinity?
No, I didn't say anyone was selling that specifically. Yeah, I'm saying like that's something you could do given the current climate that we're in.
Oh, so Silky is making masks and selling them on her damn website, but the bitch couldn't put one around her fat ass mouth?
No, I think she had it under her chin. One of her chins.
It was under one of the necks.
Because, that's the way a lot of these heifers be trying to wear their masks when they're on the damn train, and I be giving them that look like, don't sit next to me with that shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I saw the picture of Miss Vanjie and Silky out, and I think from what I heard, Silky and Vanjie one lives above the other in their apartment complex in LA. Because around the time when I moved to LA and moved back, because LA just wasn't for me. No shade to the West Coast, but it just wasn't my zhuzh. I'm an East Coast child. I needed that energy, so I came back. But the weather's cute, but that's about it. So yeah, so they were seen out, and then Shangela was out partying at PV and all this other stuff. And so the fans, the Drag Race fans, are pretty much upset with what's going on with these queens. And guess what? Farrah Moan had something to say about it. So yeah, she's busy today. So she said on Twitter, wait, say it again?
She got time.
Clearly. I mean, she's just like she said, she's not working. She said, I'm not trying to become the COVID police, but at Vanessa Vanjie and at the Silky Ganache, y'all know better than this. SMH. So disappointing. I hope y'all don't bring that shit back to LA where 1 in 5 people are testing positive and hospitals are at max capacity, turning patients away. So, yeah, she's upset. And Something Wong, speaking of UK's Drag Race, had this say, says, wow, it just gets messier and messier. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. and shows Vanjie with blonde hair and silky wind, look like one of Diana Ross's old wigs from the Supremes, out and about at a club in PV. So what do y'all think about the girls? Because I know y'all not working right now out in Puerto Vallarta when we should not be out partying at all. What do y'all think?
The girls of New York, ignorant. That's the word I'm using. Ignorant. It's terrible. Like, see, this is the part that I understood where Farrah was coming from. If you're following the guidelines, that's fine. But we should not be in gatherings like that. I saw the video, and if you haven't, it's up on YouTube. You can see it. This was like literally a club. First of all, no one was wearing their masks. No one was on top of like respecting each other's space. They were all on top of each other, sweaty pigs. But my thing is, that was fun last year. That was fun 2 years ago. It's not fun right now, and it's not fair that like the three of us are following guidelines to making sure that we're safe. Listen, everyone wants to travel. People are getting bored. I totally get it. But I'm always quick to tell someone, be very careful. Don't do anything stupid. You're going to go somewhere, then do what you want to do. But please respect and follow the guidelines and be amongst the same people and small groups at a time. I know when I traveled and I went to Savannah not so long ago, we didn't do what we normally would always do, like hit the downtown scene, and Remy has been with me many times, and get that luxury of going to all those places, even though in the South they're not as well. When we were there, they're not as strict as how it is in New York, where things are shut down and 6 feet apart and masked everywhere. People still wasn't following that guidelines, but we were. And because we wanted to be cautious, we didn't go downtown to the bar scenes. We didn't go to the places where it was just open. We literally stayed in the same house and stayed amongst the backyard. And there was no more than 4 people in a place that could fit, no lie, 50 people. You know what I'm saying? We respected it and we followed those guidelines. And that's okay. But when you're doing something like that, you're so careless. And then also you're selling stuff or you're promoting safetyness and you're not doing that. That's like a sex ed person telling you the cautionary tales of all the things you can catch and be careful, be careful, be careful. And that's the same sex ed teacher that's catching all the stuff they tell you to be careful of. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. And that goes back to Farrah. I understand what she's saying. Go ahead, girl. You have plenty of time.
She's becoming the internet police. Like, she's dragging her own sisters for not following the rules. And I feel like she's correct in what she's saying. Like, you're putting yourself at risk. Like, we talked about asymptomatic. You don't have, you may not feel sick, but then you could come back to New York, LA, and you could be bringing something from. And the worst part of it is that these people aren't thinking. You're putting the lives of these essential workers who work in these hotels and these bars who are just trying to pay their bills at risk because y'all selfishly are sick and tired of being quarantined. Well, guess what, bitch? I'm tired of sitting up in the house too. I want to be out of the bar. I want to be out of the club. And I love that over the summer I had the opportunity of doing that. I love that in New York, Governor Cuomo lifted the guidelines, and there were ways that a lot of the bars, like I went to the Monster and I went to, what was it? They had the outdoor boxers in Hell's Kitchen, had the old outdoor area. They social distance. They had the cute boys that would come up and serve us the drinks and the food. I didn't have to get up and have to get stuff. So them setting things up for us to make sure that things are in place and we were outdoors, I love that over the summer. And I hope that this summer I want to be able to go back and do all these things and have fun and hang out with my friends. And I miss the fact that we all can't be together and go to Fat Buddha and get fucked up. I miss those days. I hope we can go back to that when this is all over. But yeah, it's just I just wish people would just be like, you know what? You can go a year without all the things that we loved and we were accustomed to. But once this shit is in the bag and behind us, then we can go back to doing the things we did before. Like going out and drinking and partying, I can go back to being a hoe. So with that being said, I want to get Remy's opinion on what he had to say, because I know you didn't give your opinion on this yet. Do you agree, or are you up against, are you pissed at these other two heifers for out here not following the guidelines?
I agree with you too. Back to what I was saying before. Places like in a closed setting, like the Ritz or whatever else, that have all these people in. I saw that video, and that video had way more people in there one person was more than what should have been in there. But the fact that they had all those people in there, all sweaty and all up on each other, and then you got people with no mask. Well, no one had a mask. It's like I get it. I'm bored too, but I'm not gonna do that because at the end of the day, I'm traveling. I'm putting myself at risk, and then when I get back, I'm putting everyone else at risk because I wanted to go have a good time. I gotta have a good time by my damn self at home. The same way that when we went to Savannah, and like you said, we were in that situation where we were just in a house, no more than 4 people, just drinking there. That's more than enough. There are other ways to have a good time. You don't have to be out and following the gay agenda in order for you to have a good time and have fun.
Yeah, I guess whether they realize it or not, these drag queens have to realize that they are role models. And there's a responsibility that they have to uphold. And when people look at a Shangela and people look at a Silky and people look at a Vanjie, that, you know, they're held to a different standard than just some local queen around the corner that we know from around the way. So they have to, like you said before, well, what Lindsay said last week, like you can't cancel Shangela,
right?
But you can drag her for doing something stupid.
I agree.
I know I had the picture. I don't know if we can get it up in time before we move on because I wanted to get into the whole Kim K thing. Unless what we could do is we'll take another break and when we come back, we'll talk about Kim K and Jeffree Star and Married to Medicine and Andy Cohen being a hot ass mess and this whole thing that's going on with him and treating the black housewives versus the white housewives and Nene basically want to, you know, pull a free Britney. More and some tea is coming out about Andy that we definitely need to talk about because a mutual fave of ours that, you know, Lindsay, you and I, we watch her on YouTube. She got an exclusive interview with one of Andy's tricks. You know, what's her name? Let me look at it because I wrote it down. Oh, you know Sherelle's World, honey. You know her,
yes,
right?
I do.
She got an exclusive interview with one of Andy Cohen's pieces today. I watched it before we did this show. So I want to fill y'all in on what happened. Because there's a story going around about, well, I've been told about it. Andy loves dog meat.
He said it before, though. I'm not surprised. You know,
He fetishizes black men.
No, I love me some Sherelle's World. Sherelle is an incredible blogger, and she's always on it, especially with the Housewife franchise and what's going on with Andy. So shout out to her. And if you ever watch us, please, please, please give us a like. We love you here.
Definitely. Oh, I should be doing that too. Like, y'all be seeing a lot more of us in the future. And on my other shows, like I do this one, which is On the Line, and then I have Wednesday Night Kiki, and then the Untitled Project, even though we know what the title of the show is going to be, but with us three, where it's going to be a gay panel show. I don't want to reveal. Oh, yep, there's the picture. There's Shangela in the middle, but her little white meat, in between the white meat. All right, Miss Oreo. Oreo cookie in reverse.
Golden Oreo.
So, no, the white is on the outside and chocolate is on the inside. I'd like to see what that tastes like, an Oreo in reverse. But yeah, so our show, so all of that. So definitely click like and subscribe if you are watching the live channel on YouTube. That way you get alerts of when I post new episodes of our upcoming show, as well as all the other shows that I'll be doing in the future, because, you know, it's all part of Kris Avalon TV. So yeah, it's going to be a busy 2021. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little short gay break. Oh, Lord. Wait, is that a recent photo of people out partying without quarantining? Oh, the cesspool of disease. I'm looking at it. Oh, I need a shower. Okay, so
I like the video of Jen and Silky. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yes.
Just a little bit darker lit. Just a little darker lit.
You know, this photo, literally, I'm feeling all kinds of, you know, as much as, I don't know, I'm just feeling all kinds of icky. Like, my anxiety is going through the roof right now. So what we going to do?
They're all in the pool.
Ugh. Yes, can you imagine that? Well, I don't know. Chlorine can't kill that shit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We are going to come back with the Kim Kardashian divorce story, this whole Jeffree Star affair situation. Do y'all agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Child, I mean, I've heard stories about Cohen, but I'll give my, you know, opinions on that, and we'll get all of our opinions on that, as well as what's going on with Bravo. And then we have a segment that we're going to be putting in the show called This Week in Gay History. So don't go away. I'll take a short little gay break and we'll be right back with more of On the Line with myself and my guest, sis, Miss Remy and Miss Lindsay Aguilera. Or as Nene does.
Yeah.
Y'all saw that.
For sure, this pandemic has reminded us the importance of, being able to be someone and have that type of relationship. I myself went on one Zoom date.
Oh no.
It was really bad because, it's not the other guy's fault. He was in Chile and I was in Paris. Texas.
How did this come up?
It was a guy that I knew from Instagram. As we meet people in the social world these days, and he wanted to go on a date. Well, obviously we couldn't leave the house.
Sure.
And so I was like, all right, let's have a Zoom date. We both poured a bottle of wine, put our glasses together, clinked the screen, clink, and sat on the phone for about an hour. Now I proceeded to probably drink way more too during this date.
I don't know.
More information. Yeah, but those dates don't necessarily lead to anything except hanging up at the end of the night and reflecting back on how it was. There was lots of conversation because that's really all there can be.
Yeah.
And I think that where we are right now, and that's why I love watching the show.
But I'm thankful. I know that much.
Yeah.
You released the rarity of your vault. Tell us about it.
Okay, so
yeah, we got J-Lo. Behind us, actually. I want to hear about Ariana Grande. She said in her new Netflix documentary
even want to see your face. I don't want to be near your fat ass, okay?
Well, hello. Welcome back to On the Line with my guest co-hosts, the one and only Remy and Miss Lindsay Aguilera. You want to know something? I was just thinking this. We need that video of the play-by-play of the cat fight between Courtney and Kim, but Drea from Mouth.
That is the best clip ever. I was telling you with Remy, I said, I feel like either on YouTube or some show, they need to get Drea to do episodes of just her
like narrating stuff.
The narration of videos.
Okay.
Giving you a little taste of different things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a question. Are y'all aware of a singer by the name of Christine W?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, so we won't talk about her then, because she had a song. She's like one of the big. She's kind of like the white Deborah Cox of the gay community.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
She did a song called "Some Lovin'" for the Queer as Folk season 3 soundtrack.
Okay.
She has a lot of songs, but apparently she's I guess they canceled her because she was seen as a dance diva and LGBTQ ally, but she's been posting a lot of it says, after reviewing her social accounts and our previous conversations with her, we've determined that Christine has shared right-wing conspiracy theories that screed racial diversity, global warming, and LGBTQ plus rights. Because of this, we can no longer associate with this or any artist that openly contradicts our mission to serve our community. We understand we all have ideological differences of opinion, but we must draw the line on science and facts. We sincerely thank her many fans and her main choreographer and dancer for speaking out. We hear and we are with you. And this is from Manny Esparza and Gregory Schweider from Nexus Radio. So apparently, this is like the conversation that we had last week when we were talking about inviting allies into our circle. Oh, because they sing and they make music for a certain demographic. Oh, yes, they're part of the community. And then all of a sudden, they come out like, remember Donna Summer, the history of Donna Summer back in the day. She was making a lot of music and the gays lived for it. And then there was this story that came in that she was homophobic. And I don't necessarily know if it's true, whatever the case was. I don't know. That was before my time. But I remember hearing the stories about that. And so it's sort of like that conversation we had before in regards of being careful of who we invite in our inner circle before we give them that, ally situation. Because a friend of mine was like, oh, we should bring up people like Nicki Minaj and Lady Gaga who said that they were bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't never seen them licky, licky, sticky. They were all for the sticky, sticky, but never for the licky, licky. So it's sort of like that. And I know Remy is a huge Nicki fan, so I don't know if you want to respond to that. But he's not a crazy. I'll say this: he's not a crazy Barb, though. He's not one of those. Like, oh, if you say something about Nicki, he want to call you all kinds of names and shit. Like, he's not that. He's a reasonable Barb, one with a brain.
I mean, I feel like it goes back to people doing what they have to do, the trend that they have to follow in order to get the following, to get the hype. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but it happens. People do it like that. People claiming that they're part of the LGBTQ community. There are people who, like, you have that one guy who claimed that he was like a doctor or like a surgeon in Florida and he got fired or he got arrested or whatever the case is. People do whatever they got to do. I don't know how that works.
It happened to him twice, though.
They got him twice. They just got him again
Yes,
recently. And it's like people will do what they have to do to get the clout that they desire, and it's not necessarily right, but it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fame is fame is worse than, I mean, I've never tried it, but fame is worse than meth. So I've heard. But I don't do no hard drugs. Weed and liquor is enough for me. Every now and again, I'll do the booger sugar. Like, shout out to Andy Cohen. But okay, so before we get into the Kim Kardashian tea, we're gonna get a little serious right now. Let's talk about what happened at our nation's capital. And the mess that happened with that. We should address the elephant in the room. I talked about it a little bit on my podcast earlier on today. But I know Lindsay was very passionate about this topic and wanted to talk about it. And yeah, we had a little fun or whatever. But yeah, we want to show that we are a well-rounded group of folks. We don't just want to talk about Kardashians and shit, even though we're going to get into that in a second. But before we get into the fluff of the Kardashians, I know, I'm sure everybody has something to say in regards of, Vanilla Isis invading our nation's capital and the fact that how they just disrespected what this country is supposed to be all about. So I'm going to give you the floor and then I'll jump in.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, listen.
Wait, what happened?
No, go for it. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Listen, I just want to make, this is the best thing about us doing live streams and getting together and giving opinions. Yes, I want to be able to talk about everything that's fun, but we also got to talk about things that are serious because, listen, we can't, like, we talk about the New York thing and who we bring into our circles and calling people the divas and whatnot. We also need to be very well aware of what's going on in our world, in our community, because if people are going to be watching us, just like you would do anything for fame, then we also have to make sure that we're very well-rounded to bring everyone in to hear us and watch us and give their opinions. I'm not one to be very political, but I'm one to give my opinion. If you guys haven't noticed from the last episode I was on Kris's show, and this has been bothering me for a few days, what has happened, and I really wanted to have this conversation because, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are feeling the same way that I'm feeling, and I'm feeling disgusted. I'm feeling bothered. I have the frustration. Start off with exactly what happened, and us American broke into the Capitol, a place that has history, is respected, is supposed to be a place where it's supposed to have security, and the world is watching this, and what are they seeing is, if we can break into this place and have no sense of respect, how can we have these other countries respect our territories and our buildings and our statues? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes. And I was just been very hurt about it. I've been very hurt that most of the Americans thought it was okay. And the president, even though he has but a few days left, he's still our president. And this went even, you wouldn't think he can go down to the mud, and he did, and allowed and encouraged these people to go ahead and do this. And everyone is quick to have their opinions on, oh, well, look what happens with the Black Lives Matter, and look how these people are getting treated. And some other people are viewing it as in, well, not everyone thinks it's just a Republican idea. There are some other people who, from different organizations, KKKs and whatnot, that, took advantage of the opportunity, like, oh, we're marching, we're going to break things, and let's also do bad things to make it worse, and made specific groups look even much more worse than they already do. But it's just disgusting. It's so frustrating because that's not fair. We should be able to protest, and we should allow everyone to have their opinions. I don't have the same opinion as a Republican or somebody who is for Trump, but I have to be able to respect their opinion because I would want them to respect mine. And I think I've said this earlier in the show. And my thing is, we didn't have the respect this past summer with the Black Lives Movement. And we were called dramatic, and they were only showing the media the negative sides of peaceful protest. And we had people getting arrested, not just celebrities, but volunteers or people who were very passionate. We've had people who we work with getting into trouble because they were protesting. And we see what happened a couple of days ago. And from what I understand, no one was arrested. You see the officers taking pictures with these rioters. You see them stepping in, sitting on a chair where the vice president normally sits during Senate conversations. And it's frustrating because it's, who are you? Why are you sitting on this chair? Why are you in this room? You should respect it. Where's the privacy? And then now is, where's the safety? I feel like now more than ever, you just made everywhere, every other country in this world look at us like, yeah, we can do the same thing and blow you up.
You're right. They're looking at us like we're nothing more than a freaking joke. Like, we are the laughing stock of the nation right now. And even though I will say this, Joe Biden was not my choice of president, but he is the president, and I feel like he's gonna help get things done. And yeah, we can get into a whole conversation about Wall Street and big business and how they're trying to get into, Silicon Valley, and all those people are lined up and all this other stuff with him and Kamala Harris. We can get into all of that stuff later on. But for the most part, we need to get rid of that horrible, smelly, stink-ass, orange tan stench that is in the White House. That'll happen on January 20th. Thank you, Jesus. He said he is not attending the inauguration. And this clearly shows that we don't need a goddamn wall because motherfuckers like this will be able to climb it. So I'm going to give my opinion in a second, but I definitely want to. Oh, yeah. And shout out to Heaven Nini Franklin, who says, yes, we look like a third world country. Yep. Yes, this is embarrassing. Like, we're supposed to be a nation that has like strong security, but we need to deal with an issue that we have in this country. Stop always looking at people from brown countries like Iraq and Iran as terrorists. Yes. We have something called homegrown terrorists living in our nation, and a lot of them are these white goddamn supremacists who are becoming the minority instead of the majority, and they can't take it. The fact that Latinos are becoming the majority demographic in this country, Black people are, we taking over. People of color are becoming the majority. White folks are becoming the minority, and they can't take it. So, Remy, what is your opinion on this?
I'm not one to follow politics, but I'm exhausted. Like, I feel like every day is something new. I feel like every day is something negative. I feel like when everything was going on a few days ago, when all of that happened with the Capitol, my initial thought was, had this been a different demographic, like demographic that was partaking in the Black Lives Matter movement or anything like that, it would have been shots on site. They wouldn't have been allowed to just print on in, like they were allowed to just step aside and part ways like Moses and let these people walk in. And they wouldn't have just been taking selfies with the people, because I've seen those videos as well. It would have never been anything of that. So I am tired of hearing about the unfairness from one race, how they get treated one way and another gets treated a different way. I'm tired about hearing anything that has to do with politics, because honestly, like, I saw a little meme thing on Facebook earlier that was just like, like all other nations are looking at us like if we were how we were when we were watching Tiger King.
Yes.
It's very much like, okay, this is a shit show. I'm intrigued to see how this is going to play out. And that's how everyone is looking at us. We're, like you said, we're the laughing stock of all the other nations. And honestly, it's exhausting. I'm tired of having to deal with it. So again, like you said, Biden may not have been my personal choice when all of this was going down, but it's the lesser of two evils, and hopefully we will get to a place where we will be better than where we have been in the past 4 years.
Exactly. And to me, I look at it as the complexion, the protection. Like, these white people really think that they can just, they were on social media just proudly, and even in the media, they were proudly declaring that, oh, yes, and we did this. And one person got into Nancy Pelosi's office and put his feet up on her desk. Like, they were just proudly saying this, like, this is an accomplishment. And I'm looking at it as this. And I'm going to say this, repeat what I said on my podcast earlier. It's like, usually when it comes to terrorists, they have an end game. They have a goal. When they take over an establishment, they have an end game in place on what exactly it is that they want. What exactly do these fucking meth heads want? Like, what exactly was your goal taking over, this federal building? When you got what are you going to do? Were you going to take back the country? How are you going to take back the country? Were you going to put a gun to Biden's head and blow his brains out and be like, well, guess what? Now Trump could be president? No, because the rule is you kill the president, the vice president becomes goes in place. Then after that, I believe it's the Secretary of State and so on and so forth. So there are rules that are put in place on when one person is eliminated, this is the next person in line. So a lot of these people who are following behind this moron in chief, they don't understand politics. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand what these rules are. And I feel like what Trump has done, not only giving us the House and the Senate and everything else, but I feel like this is an opportunity for Democrats. Take your foot out take the dildo out your ass, roll some fucking balls, and start tightening up a lot of these loopholes that Trump has been able to take advantage of in regards of our government. So this is what needs to happen. So a lot of these little things he's been able to, like, especially when it comes to him with this pardoning, because word on the street is he's talking about pardoning Lil Wayne and freaking Kodak Black. I'm like, the ghetto. So they're talking about like he's trying to pardon all these, and then he was pardoning all these other people, these crooks, specifically Jared Kushner's father, who word on the street. Jared Kushner likes girls with a little something extra, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do. And Ivanka swings both ways, which I believe. So what's her name? Tiffany is fucking one of the Secret Service men. So, that whole house of whores is going on. Oh, and Melania got herself, she's getting her back blown out by one of the security guys that look like Jason Statham. So all of these stories and things is coming out about this family. They're all a hot ass mess. And I can't wait for all the unauthorized biographies because it's time for all this to come out, and Trump needs to be thrown under the fucking jail. Yeah. And I really need for this to have a nice little bow on it where it goes to show that a lot of these white people that are running around thinking money, power, I could do whatever I want, that there is that it comes to a resolution, and that way there is some responsibility for the actions that they have transpired in regards of all of this. So this was crazy. This was, and people talk about in media, it's about, I was shocked that this happened and stuff. Like the Nutmeg McCains and all these other people. It's sort of like, you gaslighted this situation for 4 years. Yes. You're surprised that these people did this stuff? That these toothless, meth and addicted assholes were out here doing it. Y'all surprised that this is the action, the consequence of the action? That you kept constantly pandering to these mindless morons? Like, y'all don't think this was going to come to this conclusion at some point?
Yeah, these toothless McGee's. Like, it's scary. It's just terrible. And that's the thing. I know freedom of speech is important. We should all be able to say and write what we want. But I'm so happy that, was it today that Twitter blocked Trump from tweeting anything, because they realized he was encouraging this to happen. And what I'm saying is, but you should have stopped it a long time ago.
He's been gaslighting this for years. Him and Mark Zuckerberg and the rest of them, like they gaslighted. They profited off of this for almost 4 years and sat by and allowed this. They allowed all these propaganda sites that have been pro-Trump to get away with all the shit they've gotten away with on social media. But let me post a picture of my asshole. I'm blocked for 30 days.
It's terrible.
But everybody else can put. I'm not going to necessarily post a picture of my asshole on 30. Y'all know what I'm saying.
No, you're right. But it's so terrible. Like when the Black Lives Matter riots were happening, these protesters were blocking precincts and places like that, but they were outside of its building.
I should say, for the record, a lot of the protests for Black Lives Matter was peaceful. There were people 100%. That were plants from the other side that were coming in inciting this to make it look like a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests were inciting violence, and people were getting pepper sprayed, beaten, thrown in jail. It's funny how that was so quick for that to happen to them, but these morons that are pro-Trump were given the keys to the kingdom. They parted, like as Remy said earlier, they parted like the Red Sea and let them go in to these establishments and incite the things that they've incited, and then people were hurt. Security was beaten up. Trump refused to call the National Guards to come in and protect. But mind you, when Black Lives Matter was going on, all the National Guard was called, all the security was in front of these federal buildings because they were fearing violence. But the thing was, majority of the people for Black Lives Matter were not going out to protests. These are the real patriots. The Black Lives Matter protests are the real patriots of America, not these fucking idiots who are so mad because their life isn't what it turned out to be. That ain't my fucking fault. Grow the fuck up. That's all I gotta say about it. I have no sympathy for you. And hopefully, it's also ridiculous that the FBI is looking for social media to help track these motherfuckers. Why do I gotta do your damn job?
But you were quick to arrest everyone else this past summer during a peaceful walk. But
exactly,
that's where I'm going to leave it at with that.
Okay, so let's move on to Kim Kardashian. So word on the street is, we all seen it coming, but it's come to a head. The word on the street is Kim K and Kanye are splitting. So a new report claims that the beauty mogul will seek full custody of her 4 kids with KimYe amid the power couple's looming divorce. So according to The Sun, take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of people are reporting it. Kim has hired famed divorce attorney Laura Wassner and won't back down when it comes to their children, North Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. Child, I can't with them names, but whatever. A source close to Kim said that while the divorce may seem amicable, at first things will get ugly as they battle for custody. I have a feeling this marriage is going to get ugly. Also, they have the rumors that came out that Jeffree Star was apparently having sex with KimYe. I don't necessarily believe that story, but Miss Honey, I do believe he likes getting pegged. Word on the street. I remember there was a story. That came out that if y'all don't know what pegged is, in the words of Madonna, look it up.
That's a lot of the hip hop industry. I've heard stuff about.
Exactly. Wendy was exploiting the gay rappers for years. I'm not necessarily going to call Kanye gay, but I remember there was a story that came out years ago, and I think Amanda Lepore revealed this in her book that she fooled around with KimYe. So, what say y'all on this whole situation? Was this the writing on the wall from the beginning? To me, I think that Kim thought that she was Beyonce and that she was marrying her own Jay-Z, and it just didn't pan out. Like, girl, you don't have. First of all, you will never be Miss Beyonce, and he will never live up to what Jay-Z's legacy is. So, what say y'all about all of this and then some, and the whole divorce?
We can't compare Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Maybe crow a little too early, by the way.
We can't compare anyone to Beyonce and Jay-Z because even they have.
No, I know that, but I feel like Kim has always tried to make her like she wanted that whole.
That's what I will say.
We can't compare that. What I'm saying is every celebrity wants to be a power couple. Period. That's not a Beyonce Jay-Z thing. They want to be a power couple. Kim and Kanye deserve to be that power couple. Listen, at the end of the day, regardless of them getting divorced and our opinions on them, they were loved. No one can tell us any different. They really loved each other. And listen, she made it work 7 years when the joke was that she wouldn't last another month with him or a year. She made it work and she popped a lot of babies out with this kid. So and listen, they each have their own.
I think the other two would be a surrogate, but nevertheless, I get what you're saying.
Well, nevertheless, but also they both have the funds to take care of each other. So, she at one point was the most followed person in the world, and she has money like there's no tomorrow. Kanye is an artist, and I don't really follow Kanye that much. His music,
I don't either, except for like him being pro-Trump and talking about slavery was a choice and all that other foolishness.
I'm not even going to get into that. But what I'm going to say is I know some of like his singles, some of the stuff that makes him good. What I won't take away from him is that he's very talented. Musically, he is talented. I don't listen to his music as much, but I've listened to the music he has produced. And the music that he has produced or he's been featured on is amazing. And he's so good at that. So I think they really were in love with each other. It's just
I will say that yes, he does make good music, no pun intended. But child, he looked like somebody that needs to be put in chains. But as you were saying, he does look like an extra from Roots. But in the word, we'll go to Remy and hear what he got to say.
Wow.
That's not nice.
What I will say though is I do find her and that family's relationships to be coincidental in the sense that they get into relationships with people who have a high place on whatever pyramid it may be. Kanye West was at the height of his career when when they got together. Like Lindsay just said, Kim Kardashian was at the height of career. She was one of the most followed people on Instagram at one point, and it worked out for however long it worked out. But things started to unravel throughout the years, and we got to see that, especially with Kanye's like burst on Twitter whenever his shit wasn't going right, and he just had like this whole bipolar episode for 2 days where he's tweeting everything, and then like I felt like it was the writing
personal stuff in regards of like them aborting North,
right, and I feel like at that point the writing was on the wall, like everyone could see it, and while they may be getting divorced now, when it comes into like them fighting for custody, which I heard both of them are trying to fight for custody in their favor. I feel like it's going to kind of lean more towards Kim because of
100%.
how he's been acting in the public eye lately, as of late. And I don't know. I feel like they had love at one point, and I feel like eventually they may get to that point where it's going to be able to like be a co-parenting situation where it's not going to get too crazy unless Kanye gets crazy again.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gonna get crazy because he's a hothead. So that's
right.
He's unpredictable, and he does seem like he's got a couple of screws loose. So I feel like Kanye looks like the type of person that should get every other weekend, and Kim should get full custody. Well, not full custody. She should get 70, and he gets 30%. It's gonna go in her favor, I believe, because she is a pit bull for a mother. Kris Jenner, regardless of what goes on with this family, when it comes to the family and the sisters and stuff, she is a pit bull. She is a tiger mom. Like, she will literally rip your throat out when it comes to her daughters.
That brings up another point I had.
Black men need to realize what you're getting into when you start messing around with these Kardashians. And I feel like, they're all getting something out of it. Kim's getting whatever she needs out of these black, they all, there's been more black men up in these girls than inside of the building for an NAACP Image Award. So when it comes to that, the black, these women know what they're doing when they're getting with these men, and these black men who are getting with these women, especially like the whole Larsa Pippen situation with that young boy, they know the clout, all that stuff that they're chasing to get the accolades. That helps them in some sort of way. So they're getting stuff from each other. But what are you going to say?
I also feel like Kris is just gearing up new material for their Facebook show that they're about to get. So I mean, it's all just like,
I remember going to Hulu.
Whatever, Hulu, Facebook, same thing. Point of the matter is that they're gearing up for their new show. I feel like they're just making new content so that we can see it play out in the public eye, and then 6 months from now we'll see it play out on Hulu, and we'll see the behind the scenes and the reactions, everything. It happens every season with the Kardashians. Oh, Tristan and Khloe got divorced, and this girl has just jumped into the mix, and it's just like, okay, we hear it, and then we see how it plays out on the show, because everybody's like, oh, I gotta see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. You brought up a good point, Remy, about that, but that's always been their career. And my thing is, you can't get mad when that's a career. That's like if you're getting mad at Britney Spears releasing pop music. She is a pop star. You're getting mad at David Guetta releasing EDM music. He is an EDM artist or producer. You know what I'm saying?
But that's different. That's like, he's producing because he's producing actual talent. Like, there's no actual talent with the Kardashians except they're spinning a narrative. They're spinning a one-sided narrative on what they want us to believe about certain people. That's why I said that whatever it is that you're getting from these people, you need to be aware of what you're getting into once you join the big circus that is the Kardashians.
Well, yeah, but real quick, what Remy was saying was about the content and stuff, the content, like, oh, we're building up for the show. I personally, in my opinion, I don't think that they're like, oh, we're going to get divorced so we can, build something for our show. I don't think it's like that. I think it's reversed. I think
not saying
like,
that.
Oh my God, we're going to get divorced. Shit. Okay, now bring the camera since this is like, they're taking the opportunity for it. But I don't think
the filming is not the driving force. It's the profit. It's okay, this is happening, let's profit off of it.
That I agree. But that's what
exactly everything they do is for monetary reasons.
This family has made their fame and fortune off of that before anything else. Before now they have products and they have a brand of some sort, like the KKW, the Kylie Cosmetics. Before that, though, this is what.
Well, you know that Kim just sold her part of her company to Cody, like Kylie did with her cosmetics. That story came out before the whole divorce thing. But also, I know we have a clip of the whole Jeffree Star response and all other stuff. We're going to play that. Hopefully it plays. But, you know, with internet and all this stuff, there's situations. If it doesn't work, then I have the, you know, the redation of it all. And then we'll get your opinions on what y'all think about this whole Jeffree Star situation. Oh, the clip. That's exactly what I do. Uh-oh. Okay, so there seems to be a glitch in the matrix. So what did he say? Oh, he says, I'm single, I'm not sleeping with.
Oh.
Line reads, Kanye West might be sleeping with Jeffree Star. I can't. And then I'm like, how do we even get to this moment? Like, how would that even be made up? Because we both live in the same state, right? Whatever. So I guess some girl made up a whole lie on TikTok, and it went viral, where she insinuates Kanye and Kim are getting divorced because a big male beauty influencer is sleeping with him.
Oh, she wanted views.
So I just woke up just trying to live my life, and I'm like, huh, this is so weird. I had people like texting me, all these news people, like, what do you have to say about this? And I'm like, about what? What? I'm single, I'm not sleeping with this. This is so weird. So, Jeffree Star after leaving Kim's house. Look at this shit, y'all. This is so stupid. What?
Since when did you learn all those moves?
I mean, that was me escaping from Louis Vuitton, but that wasn't. This is so weird. So it's 2021, January 6th, and allegedly I'm sleeping with Kanye. Let me just say this one time for any news outlet. I like very time. Me and Kanye have never hung out, and it's really funny. So I guess if this is start to my new year, Happy New Year.
Yeah, this has been a very messy past couple of days. What is it? We only 9 days into 2021, and it's been a lot of shit that's just been dropping. But yeah, I agree. Like, I don't believe the whole Jeffree Star situation. Jeffree Star to me looks like a poor man's Alaska. But I was paying more attention to the one that was standing next to him in that that onesie pajama thing he had on.
Here we go.
What do y'all think of this whole Jeffree Star thing? Me personally, I don't believe it. And Kanye does look like he might be short, as a lot of Hollywood people are, you know, vertically challenged.
No, listen. I mean, Jeffree Star is one of those people who are like the Kardashians, who love that fame, whether it's good or bad. They will take any opportunity. They will take advantage of that opportunity. So I'll give him that. But what I am respecting Jeffree for is coming out and not waiting too long and saying, hey, listen, this is not true. Not teasing, not playing. Like, Jeffree played along with the, I'll go to Sunday Mass, or, you know, I'm in the same state, I'll see you later, joking around with it. But at the same time was saying, I'm just playing because I think this is funny, but I didn't do anything. As opposed to someone else, you know, some of these celebrities keep their mouth mute, or maybe their management team would be like, don't say nothing, keep it quiet, keep it under wrap, disappear for a little bit, and allow this to get into something much more bigger than it really is, and to hurt his kids.
Yeah, because he played into it a little bit.
He did.
But any opportunity you're going to use to get attention for yourself and go viral, because that's all these girls care about, is going viral. Like, if your name is on the tip of everybody's tongue, yeah, look at her giving very Alaska in that picture. If you want to go viral, like, you're gonna jump on this. But the funny thing is, they both live in the same part of Wyoming, don't they? What the hell? First of all, what the hell is in Wyoming for people to be living out there anyway? Because I believe, doesn't Move have a house in Wyoming too?
Grass and sticks. and Twigs, Nene
Nah,
voice.
Phaedra Parks.
No, Phaedra voice. Grass, and
Ism.
Twigs.
Neverland. No,
That's
don't
what
forget,
it's
listen,
given.
places like that is mostly for people who wants big properties, big houses, and it's an investment. There's a lot of places, a lot of states in our country that, come 30 years ago, look at Hollywood, California. If you see the documentary of it, nobody ever wanted to live in California. It was just dust and dirt. And over the years,
A lot of peace and quiet.
A lot of peace and
That's
quiet.
why
In
RuPaul's
in
cracking in like
Wyoming.
Montana.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
Montana. So it's I heard great properties are there in Wyoming. So
Yeah, so I guess to wrap up this whole story is, I guess we pretty much see Kim Kardashian getting most of the custody, and
yeah,
I'd say split it. I would say split it 50-50, but I don't know if those kids want to be around that madman for, a week or two. I think, a weekend is good enough if I was one of Kanye's kids. And we've seen how Northwest talks to her mother, so I don't necessarily know how that situation is going to work out, but it's going to be really interesting. I did hear that she said she was trying to put it off for the sake of the kids, but it's like, girl, it's inevitable. Like, it doesn't work if you're divorcing for the sake of the children.
yeah.
I feel like it's going to
Right.
end up being like 60-40, 70-30 around there.
Exactly. So I see her getting most of the custody, and then Kanye basically getting partial because he's making music and he's traveling, he's doing whatever. And Kim ain't trying to go out to Wyoming. She's like, "What the hell's out there? Like, you cannot see me with all of this stuff that I'm doing. I need to be in LA because that's where business is happening, and I'm doing what I'm doing. And there's nothing in Wyoming that I need out there. You can go out there and meditate, do whatever. Even though we know he ain't meditating, he basically just having one of his episodes. I don't need to be out
Wyoming
there.
is not Calabasas.
Exactly. And then I also heard that he built a lot of the house out there, that big house that they're living in, that Wendy says she lives at, but Kim owns the property. So I don't know how that's all going to work. You built stuff on her property. She owns the property that goes acres and acres and acres. So I don't know how that's going to work because you can't split something if I own the property, but you own the house. So what I could do is basically, I guess, cash him out and then destroy the property that's there and just rebuild something completely different. I don't know how that's going to work, but I feel like you have more leeway when you own the land versus the property that's on it.
Realistically, he's gonna have to pay her. She's gonna have to buy her out, or she's gonna have to charge him rent for being on his land. It's gonna be one of the
Pretty
two.
much. So clearly he wasn't thinking. Like an actual landlord. This is like black people don't understand how money and ownership works. But anyway, let's move on to Married to Medicine. So apparently All About the Tea broke a story that reality star Mariah Huq has filed a complaint against Bravo, show producers, Fremantle Media North America, and purveyors of pop. The outlet is stating that an intellectual property and discrimination complaint has been filed by Mariah and her attorney, Brian Friedman, against NBC, Bravo, Fremantle, and purveyors of pop. I don't know what the hell a purveyors of pop is, but we'll go along with it. The reported lawsuit is not surprising, has been vocal about her issues with Bravo for months. She is credited as the creator of the reality show and has an executive producer credit. Earlier this year, she told fans she has yet to receive her contract for another season. Now, according to All About the Tea, Mariah's suit accuses the network and producers of breach of contract, breach of joint venture agreement, failure to prevent harassment and retaliation. She says she endured harassment and discrimination while working on Married to Medicine. The reality star reportedly notified the production company of the alleged harassment, but nothing has been done about it. So I don't know. They're saying that Huq is the first African-American woman to create a TV franchise with Bravo. He points out she has become a mainstay on Bravo for 7 years. So I don't know. I don't know if y'all watch Married to Medicine.
I do.
But do you think she got a case?
She definitely does. I mean, she's been saying this since last year. It's just, I guess, the legal system takes forever that she was going to sue. Or I think she just decided to do it now. She was like, let me wait and see what would happen with my new contract and what happens on the next season. But from what I understand and from what I've heard through different bloggers, it's, yes, she has the credit, but she always got downplayed, being a producer on the show. When it was time for the reunion, she did it. As a producer, you get to call the shots as well, even if you're in a show. Barbara Walters was a producer to The View, or an executive producer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she also created the concept.
Yeah, to The View. Yes, she was in it and she had to follow what the other ladies would do, but she had she had a leg in where she called the shots as well. And from what I've heard is she didn't get that treatment. She didn't get that respect. So how is it that you're a producer, an executive producer, or a name credited under the show as it ends, and when you're coming to like the reunion, it's like, okay, well, you got to sit down with them and you got to follow and do everything, and the shot's gonna be based on what Andy or the other producers do. It's like, where's the respect there? Where's the title? You know what I mean?
I feel like to get an executive producer credit, that's a different check entirely than a cast member credit. And I feel like in terms of her not getting her contract back for next season when she practically, quote unquote, created the show or helped create it. Yes. It's like, how can you kick off the executive producer of the show and still expect her to be involved? It's kind of like going back to last season when there were rumors about Shawnee O'Neal getting kicked off of Basketball Wives. Yes. But I'm like, how do you kick her off when she's the executive producer? Yes. And come to find out with the rumors of them filming and everything, she's still very much involved. So it's like, you can't really kick off someone who helped create the show. You may not want them to be a cast member, but if they're still going to be an executive producer, you're still going to have to pay them for that and expect them to be there and be active, especially if created.
And we also need to wonder what is the extent of Mariah's contract in regards of like executive producer versus talent. Like, what kind of contract did she sign? Did she have an entertainment lawyer outside of Bravo look at that contract before she signed it? See, another mistake that I think a lot of people make is that they believe the attorneys, the entertainment attorneys that work within the network to look over paperwork and sign it. People need to realize those lawyers work for the company. They work for NBC. They work for Bravo. So they're going to have Bravo's interest at heart. They don't really have your interest at heart. They're going to tell you they do, but quiet as is kept, they don't. And that's why I think a lot of times when you look at, for example, a lot of musicians, when they sign contracts, they take the retainer of the entertainment attorneys that work for the record label rather than you going outside and getting your own entertainment lawyer to look over the paperwork and read the fine print and be like, this isn't right. This is a bullshit contract. So I need to know what the extent of the contract is on Mariah's front to know what it was that little loophole that Bravo was able to pull the little stunt to have her be kicked off a show that she brought to them as a concept. Because word on the street is Andy and them are notorious for stealing people's ideas. Perez Hilton revealed that he came up with a concept. He went to Andy about doing a show about gay fathers. And word on, because, you know, Andy Cohen is a father. God bless that child's soul. And Perez has 3 kids. And he was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a great idea. So word on the street is Bravo is creating a show about gay fathers. So they tell you, oh, I'm not interested and I don't want the concept and I don't want the idea. But then all of a sudden, you then stole my concept and you basically created something around an idea I brought to you. So this happens a lot in the industry. And I definitely am going to keep an eye on this story as it develops.
Yeah.
But speaking of Andy Cohen, he's speaking out about the online backlash that he received following the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. So after being accused of being biased and unfairly coming after Monique Samuels during the reunion, which I've said countless times that he's very biased when it comes to certain people that he likes on this show. He says, during Sunday's episode of Watch What Happens Live, Andy said that he totally wanted to have a 4-part reunion so viewers could see more of what happened, specifically how he addressed Candace. The reunion filmed for 11 hours. He says, I was really pushing for this to be 4 parts. And this is what he told guest Rachel Lindsay and Real Housewives of Atlanta housewife Drew Sidora. He says, I really talked to Candace a lot about her role in this. The fact that a lot of people think that she provoked it, and she said, drag me. And we talked about that in relation to what KimYe and Portia went through. And I don't think enough of that made it in the show. And I know a lot of people were very upset. So I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all call bullshit on that, or
I call bullshit. I call bullshit because at the end of the day, I wasn't a part of that conversation prior, but I do feel like Candace played a big part in it by provoking her by saying "drag me" or whatever. It's like if you're gonna have all that mouth and you're gonna invoke someone to like do something about it, then expect the repercussions. It may not have been justified. It might not have been. That's not justifying the fact that Monique put her hands on her. But at the same time, it's like you asked for it. You're pushing me to this point. You're poking the bear. And as previous seasons show, you poke the bear with Monique, you might just get an umbrella snatched from your hands. So that being said, it's like you can't sit here and say that you had this conversation with her or whatever. Isn't Andy like the executive producer of these Housewives franchises?
Oh,
You play
which
a
is
part.
which is why it shocked me that he actually has no control over
It's like
this franchise.
you play a part in the editing.
Pretty much are an EP. Oh, we have a clip of Monique talking about the situation. We'll jump to that and then we'll come back to you.
Yes, let's watch this.
Like I said, I'm over it. I'm over it. So, love y'all. Appreciate everything. But I'm over it. So, when the hate becomes real, I'm over it. So, I thank God that my husband and I are in a position where we don't really need for anything. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. That's not me bragging. That's just me being absolutely 100. And if my kids were to get older and say they watched everything and they watched the show and they watched all of these different things that's happening behind the scenes, what response can I give them? What would satisfy that, you know? So gaslight me once, gaslight me twice, gaslight me 3 times? Nah. I throw you this. And that's what it is. So.
You said 4 women had implants in the group. Which 4 were you referring to?
What?
And then were you talking about her or Kenya?
Hey, whoever wants to admit to it.
Well, Kenya is maintaining that she has not had anything done.
I just joined the club.
You did?
And there's a lot of gaslight that Miss Cohen likes to do. Because she gets paid to get messy or be messy, as I was trying to say. But anyway, I don't know, Remy, were you done with, I mean, you want to finish what you had to say before, we cut to the clip before we move on and get Lindsay's opinion?
All I got to say is that Andy plays a part in the editing as well. He plays a part in what he wants to be shown, what he doesn't want to be shown. Apparently, he was going in on Giselle as well about her marriage with Jamal.
It was cut.
But you don't get to see none of it. And it's like you hold this veil behind Giselle. You hold this veil behind certain people. You hold people to a certain standard because you're just puppet mastering right now. And I guess you're done with Monique. You want to paint Monique as the villain and you want to get her kicked out. I'm glad that I heard that Monique was offered a contract, but she chose to decline because it's like walk away from this shit before they try to wring you through the dirt or like give you the short end of the stick. Have some dignity.
And she didn't need any more.
Right.
She didn't need Bravo's cheap checks.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Lindsay, you have the floor.
No, everything Remy has said and what you have said as well, I agree 100%. Listen, there's been numerous times on his own talk show or when he's on someone else's show and they interview him, he's always talking about how he always gets the cut of the show and he decides what gets played and what doesn't get played and whose storyline gets put in first. So my thing
He expects you not to remember that though.
Right. Now,
Why
all
that's
of
his
a
cap.
sudden, I wanted a 4-part. I think, in my opinion, and maybe this could be right, my opinion is, I think the 4-part has been made because everything was filmed already. I think him talking about Kansas and letting her know about herself and the whole Giselle thing, because even Giselle said that she had a meltdown and she was like going a little crazy. I think all of that wasn't shown because Monique wasn't coming back. Andy Cohen, like we know, he likes to use people. He wanted to have Monique come on one more season, get dragged through the mud, have everyone attack her. But because she decided to fall back and said, no, I'm good. She pulled a Denise Richards. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm leaving. It messed everything up. So Andy had to be like, hold up a minute. I'm not going to air this because then I'm going to have 2 other housewives not in a good place, or maybe 3 housewives be in a mood and I could lose them. That would be a lot of too much housewives to be upset with.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I think that is because from what we were told at the reunion of Beverly Hills, what's this lady's name? I always forget. Oh, the troublemaker. I can't. Brandy.
Lisa. Oh, I thought you were going to say Lisa Rinna, but yeah, Brandy.
Brandy confirmed that she was coming back.
Who should have been at the reunion, by the way.
That's a totally different thing. But what I'm saying is she confirmed that she was coming the following season, and the storyline was going to be the issue between her and Denise would come face to face. The second Denise was like, no, I'm backing out. I don't need you. Then Andy comes like, never mind. I don't need you, Brandy, either. You can go somewhere else. That's the same thing that happened here. As soon as Monique said, I'm not signing a contract, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here, he's like, I'm not going to mess this up with the other girls. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
and
to using them to his benefit.
How it is. Because he knows how to play this game. He knows how to play it.
Exactly. And to piggyback off of something you said, isn't there like an episode they do like of cutting room floor sequences?
Yes, like
interjected with clips from the reunion.
Yes.
So what is he talking about? Does he think we're dumb? Like we just had short-term memories? He could have put that scene that he's talking about with Candace in the clips.
Yes.
We could have seen
and they didn't even do it this season.
Exactly. So he's full of shit. Andy is full of shit. Just like Girls of Atlanta. Remember when they all came for Kim with the shit that she was saying? There were roaches and Mimi and all the other stuff, and they ganged on her. And Croy and them was in the room, and then Sheree cotton picking ass went up in there, was acting like, oh, you could have stopped this, Andy. You could have stopped them from trying to gang up on my wife, and blah 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 blah, and all this other crap. Like you insinuated all that. And you were saying this man has the power to do all of this, and he was against. I remember I forget what show it was, but he was Team Black Girls and against Kim Zolciak. Then he went somewhere else and was like, oh, well, they picked on Kim. Then he went on The Breakfast Club and said something completely different. So Andy's a flip-flopper. He's phony as fuck. And word on the street is he got a sex tape because there was a story that came out this week. Honey, let me pull this up because I took notes. So Layla Lynn was the original source of it, was revealing that there was someone by the name of Anthony Lofties who was fooling around with Andy Cohen. He showed up at a book signing that Andy was doing, like for his first book, I believe in 2016. He said he was there to pick up a Steve Harvey book. But because he was there, one of the people that was, I guess, in Andy's camp shoved a book in his hand. He got on the line and pretty much went to get the book signed. And then I guess Andy came in at the time. So Storm Monroe went and told this story yesterday. I guess he embellished a little bit because the guy, Anthony Lofties, was on Sherelle's World doing a live today telling his side of the story because he says that he didn't want to be in the public eye. He didn't want his tea to be split. He didn't want to be a part of the whole situation. But apparently Andy wouldn't come out and say all this other stuff because word on the street is when all this stuff about Monique started coming out, all of a sudden there was this story that came out that Andy doesn't have a problem. He's not a racist. So they started showing him with him and this black dude. And they were insinuating that that was Andy's boo because we all know Andy likes the chocolate. I've talked about this many a times on my show in many iterations, and I'm sure y'all have heard the same thing. So he went and said they met 5 years ago in Nashville. and that he and Andy met at a book signing in New York. And then he was like, whenever he's in Atlanta or he's in New York, he basically gave him his information that they can hang out and this, that, and the other. And that Storm insinuated that in front of the crowd of people that Andy grabbed his ass, which the boy says did not happen when he interviewed with Sherelle. He said that basically Andy put his hand on his shoulder, was massaging and making little moaning noises. So there was a little bit of that. And he said there was flirtation, but nothing sexual happened. And he likes to get with black boys because, you know, of what they got between me down there. So Andy's been going around, you know, insinuating he's a top. But girl, if you thirsting for big old D, I knew your ass was a lie. I knew you was a big old, you know, sausage.
I mean, you could just happen to do a nice piece.
As messy as she is, she a messy bottom.
Exactly. I do not get top when I look at Andy. So,
very Portia call.
So yeah, if y'all want to see the whole interview with the guy Anthony Lopez, who's on Sherelle's World, like a lot of the bloggers were. First of all, Anthony says that he believes it wasn't because someone was saying that someone at Bravo, one of the producers, was spilling this tea. But Anthony says one of his friends was the one that was spilling the information and putting it out there. He does not believe somebody at Bravo, any of the producers, any of the camera people, any of that other stuff was spilling this information. That is somebody he knows that he's going to address, and he didn't say who it was, but he says someone that he knows pretty much put this information out there because they put his whole name in the email, was sending out to all these bloggers. And Anthony was like, can you like defend me? Can you say something? And Anthony wouldn't do it. So there's this thing that's going around, I think, is that Andy might be racist. I don't know if y'all think he's racist. I'll ask you guys.
That's weird.
Why is weird. Oh. Yes.
That's weird.
I don't know. Do y'all think Andy is racist? I have my opinion. I'm a hold it until I hear what y'all got.
No, I don't think Andy's racist. The thing is, we can't forget is that he's an opportunist and he uses people. Listen, if he was racist, he wouldn't want Atlanta housewives. He wouldn't find Potomac. Like, you have to remember, before Nene was fired, he fired Vicky Gunvalson and gave her this shitty ass contract. Before that happened to
her and Tamara.
So my thing is, and Tamara, and I mean the gutter, bad,
front of the show
contract. So my thing is, if he did that to them and he did it to them first, it ain't no different with Nene. That I'm gonna throw out the window. I honestly don't think he's not at all, but he definitely is an opportunist because he's always baby Nene. He loved Nene. Nene was his fave. You know, he had
Nene made him money.
He had Bethany in New York. He had Teresa in Jersey. He had Nene in Atlanta. He had Vicky Gunvalson in OC and
LVP.
Lisa Vanderpump in Beverly Hills. But the thing is, you know, Nene was getting ahead of herself and was doing too much, and I guess he was getting annoyed and he was getting tired. And then Candy started coming up because, you know, Candy's his favorite right now. For the last 3 years, Candy has been his favorite. You can see that he favors her.
Well, because Candy is smart and she knows how to play the game. Nene just got 100%. Too emotional, and the ego got the best of her. And 100%. When you do that, you have to realize the industry is really small. Yes. And when you have a reputation that you're difficult to work with, nobody wants to work with you. Hence, what's happening with Shia LaBeouf. With that reputation of his, like, he's getting fired left and right off movie sets because nobody wants to work with a difficult person. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So my thing is, it's not a racial thing. And I think Nene, if she was much more smarter, she can just talk about him using her and whatever they discuss, maybe promise her if you do this season, or you know what I mean? Like, talk about what's fact, but don't go crying the racial card, because there are a lot of people here who are going through that.
Yeah, she tried to compare her situation to Mariah Huck's situation, which those are two different situations. Yeah. And when I look at Nene, I was like, well, wait a minute. So you're saying Andy's a racist, but you had no problem benefiting off, you know, everything that was going on throughout the many seasons you were part of the Real Housewives. But when shit started going south, all of a sudden Andy's a racist. But you was kissing his ass for 13 damn seasons. Well, 12 and a half, I should say.
Even as when she was invited to his talk show, she is one of the only housewives that didn't follow the rules and did whatever she wants. You know what I mean? Something as little, for example, something as little as when he had his baby shower, he said that he only wanted the housewives that were actually casted at the moment. He didn't want no ex-housewives. He didn't want no future housewives. He just wanted the ones that were on cast. Nene didn't follow that policy and brought Phaedra, which made a lot of the other housewives from different franchises very upset because they were like,
sidebar, they need to bring Phaedra back because this season is boring.
No, but well, that's true. But I think it should have been better a long time ago. But going back to it, anyway, long story short, what I'm trying to say is he's not a racist. He just uses people. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian. Doesn't matter if you're Nene Leakes or Denise Richards. Look at the way he treats Denise Richards.
How's your love life? Who you
tonight? There goes Luann.
I'll tell you when I go on a reality show with whoever I'm having sex with.
Well, you're on a reality show right here, baby.
I'm actually not, honey.
I'm not talking about this anymore. It's a personal matter. I want this closed down. Okay? Stop it, Andy.
I'm asking you about your friends. I'm not asking you what's going on in your home.
I don't want to talk about anything. I'm my own person. I am a great person. I have my life. I have myself. And whatever will be, will be. And I don't want to discuss this, okay?
I asked you.
Next package. You need a Xanax.
You need a Xanax.
Xanax, huh? Next package. All right, let's go. Next package. Where are we going? Next question.
Bash me.
Look,
I wish a bitch would. Like, how you gonna come on my show and tell me what you gonna and not gonna do? Here's what you not gonna do.
when Ramona got the EP credits that she thought that she got, but I'm waiting for her to get the Vicky, the Nene, the Tamara treatment because it's honestly she does shit like that and then gets away with it.
Yes,
and that's exactly what they're implying is that how people like her. And remember when Tarisha pushed Andy in the chair, and what was it, season 2 of the reunion, where she was going to ring Danielle's neck, then all of a sudden, years later, it became BFFs again. But they're allowed to do all this, and it's okay, but let Nene close her laptop and not want to come back, and you fire her. So I feel like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're going to treat Nene one way, then which, like I said, was good for the goose is good for the gander. You need to do the same to Ramona. Why is Ramona still on the show? Like, I just don't understand why she's still there when she hasn't grown from since she started on the show in her behavior. She still does the same shit every season.
I'm glad you brought that up. Here's the thing. You have to remember that all these shows are filmed at different times to back one another up, right? We've always talked about this. Once Beverly Hills is on, New York is not on. When Atlanta's on, OC's not on. Like they rotate and they take time. As of last year, when the show was changing for OC, when Vicky first got fired the season prior, then Tamara this past season, then we had the issues with Denise and Beverly Hills. Now Nene, the rumor has been for a full year, the rumor has been that Ramona is getting termed. She's being let go. The thing is, yes. Well, this is the rumor. The rumor is for a year, she was getting like, oh, when people were asking, well, if it's been a year, it's been a year, it's been a year. Hey, don't forget what we saw. That was just the season that was just filmed with the new girl. What's her name? I love her so much.
Leah.
Yeah, I love Leah.
Yeah, we have to remember this is not filmed in real time. This is not a live.
Leah gives me Bethany vibes. Early season Bethany.
No, I love it. But what I'm trying to get at is the show was not a live show. It's not filmed live. This was filmed a year prior or 6 months prior. So now, I
remember because I remember when I told you I was, humble brag, but yes, I was in an episode of The Real Housewives of New York. The Big Apple Circus episode. They were in my section. I served them drinks. I am in the episode. Y'all go back and watch it. I don't remember what season. It was probably like 2 seasons ago. But Ramona was there for like 2 seconds. She filmed a scene, and I believe. Oh yeah, I remember who it was. She was with. There was a scene she filmed with Sonia. And that scene actually did not make the cut. They cut that out, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff they cut out. There was even a sequence that I helped shoot for Bravo, where I was holding up the wires while they were filming a drunken Tinsley. She was so drunk off the wine, like her eyelashes was heavier than her freaking head. Like her eye, like she was literally like this. She was in this scene, pissy drunk, her and Sonia just rambling on about a bunch of. I'm like, okay, what is this shit over? But so meeting these girls, I see how it is. They shot it in like I believe November, and then the season launched
September.
I think it was like spring. It was like I think around March when it aired. So yeah, there is a long period before those seasons air where they shoot around this time, and then you see the episodes air months down the road. And I was glad that I was at a point where I was like, oh my god, I can catch this episode and see how it all worked out. But yeah, it was cute.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with Miss Ramona. So the rumor is they're filming it now, and they're actually exiting her out. And there has been some rumors about her saying that apparently she's got into real estate, where Kelly Ben-Simone is working at, an ex housewife of New York. They saw her there, and apparently she's like getting clients. And the reason why she's doing that is that she needs to find a job because she's being let go. This will be her last season. They're going to give her the send off. But there's also another rumor that she may not be the only original housewife to be let go.
Well, here's a question. Did they reveal who it is, or do we need to have a segment of who we think should be chopped from Real Housewives?
Well, we can talk about who we think should be chopped, but the rumor is
who's it, Luann?
This is her final one because for the last 7 seasons, this looking for love and going to drama, it's also she is a fun person, but is enough. The only person who's actually safe, who's like one of the OGs, is Sonia, because Sonia's storyline is that she's more the comedic, and she's bringing.
Sonia came in at season 3.
Say it again.
Even then, Sonia came in at like season 3.
Yeah,
so
season 3, but she would be considered the OG. Her and the one who just got like, I love her. Dorinda.
Heather. Oh.
No, Dorinda's gone.
Dorinda. I love me some Dorinda.
Dorinda's gone.
Yeah, for this, apparently she.
I honestly think this is a mistake. I think it's a mistake for them to have fired Dorinda. I actually like Dorinda. Yeah, she was very mean-spirited in the last season, but I felt like they should have kept her on so that way the new season coming up, she could have redeemed herself a little bit instead of just being like, you know what, we don't want her on the show no more. I like Dorinda. I met Dorinda. Dorinda is lovely. But I want her to be a part of the show again. So hopefully, if she doesn't come back this season, that they bring her back in the following season.
She is coming back in the following season. That's been confirmed. She's taking this season that they're filming. She's taking this season off because she was already let go. But due to the fact that the fans were very upset and they really didn't find no flaw other than she had a bad season.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake for them to have prematurely fired her.
Basically, take this season off and come back the following. So she is coming back.
Well, doubling back to the main point, Potomac, I heard that 2 people are getting the chop. And I heard
they're looking for 2 new housewives.
I heard that they found them. But I heard
who is it?
Nobody that I know. I saw their Instagram pages. There was like activity with like the girls who are currently on the cast on their pages, so there's speculation. But the 2 people who did get the chop, from what I did hear, are Wendy and Robin. Aside from Monique, but Wendy and Robin. That's what I heard.
I think I heard Robin deny that she was fired, but we'll see.
Yeah, probably she should have never. She get casted every year. She brings nothing to the table. Can one of you guys tell me what she brings to the table? So I can shut up.
Absolutely nothing. I don't like the fake ass. I can't stand the fake wannabe Vanessa Williams.
Yeah, she gotta go. But you need a villainess, and she's a villainess. Until they get another villainess, she ain't going nowhere. But
be around for
Robin, let me put it this way: I don't care for Giselle as well because of the type of person she is. But if I had to choose between her and Robin, Robin would have to go. Sorry, nothing against you, but you bring nothing. You bring nothing. I didn't say you're a bad person. I didn't say you have no taste, despite the fact that people don't think your wigs are cute and you have no style coming up with a hat line or whatever. What I'm trying to say is that
your wigs are cute.
I don't think your wigs are cute. I'm just saying I don't agree with them. What I'm saying is you actually bring nothing to the table. And I feel like for you to be on these kind of shows, you need to.
Okay. Really quick before we
We're slithering on out.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Oh yeah.
Right, they're gonna Wendy slither on out.
I can't. I was not expecting that. That is hilarious.
Ooh,
Lord, shout out to production. This show is a goddamn mess, and I'm living.
Gonna Wendy slither on into 2021.
The funny thing is the way they was walking. That's how I feel like Andy Cohen walks in real life with them knock knees he got. But really quickly, I wanted to ask Remy since he's here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're about to go. We're about to wrap this up because I know it's getting late, and I'm like, girl, we've been talking for a minute. I hope this show is not 3 hours long. But yeah, really quickly because I want to get into I close. Excuse me. Oh wait, I don't close. I'm doing a short shift, but I'm not closing ish. I'm closing ish. But really quickly, Remy, because I want to get into this whole this week of gay history situation so we can wrap up the show. Because we got another 10 minutes in the show. We can wrap this up really quick. But I didn't ask you because you weren't here last week. But do you have any albums that you're looking forward to that you want to see come out in 2021? There was one I forgot last week that I actually remembered, but I'm gonna say mine real quick. I need a new Janet record. You tried it.
Is that your pleasure principle?
Mm-hmm. You know, I love Janet Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But
I can't relate. But
anyway, do you have any records that you're looking forward to? I mean, I don't know if they're gonna come out this year. I don't know who's dropping what. But since it's 2021, if you're anticipating some records that you would like to have come out this year.
I am still very content with Positions. I listen to that on daily. I cannot. Honestly, I don't know who. I mean, Rihanna, yeah, I'm still waiting. We're still waiting for that, but I guess we're still gonna wait for that for another few years. I want another era of Nicki, but you know, like let's drop all that Queen shit. Let's drop all that. Let's move into a new thing. Let's leave all of that behind. Honestly, I can't really think of anything. When something drops, I'll be here for it.
Yeah, well, probably when the show, you know, once we start doing our show in the next couple of months, I'm sure a lot of albums will be out and we can revisit this question.
Right.
As well as give our opinions. We can give that'd be great too. We could do like a on the cuff review of a certain album. So like if Gwen Stefani or somebody releases a record, we can give our opinions on whether we like it, whether we don't like it. We'll come up with like a term for whether we like it, whether we don't like. We'll think about it. As that happens. But one of the things I want to get to so we can wrap this up really quick, I want to do a segment for our show that we're going to be doing later on in the future called This Week in Gay History. So January 4th, 1982 was New York City's gay men's health crisis founded in response to the AIDS epidemic. So 6 months after New York Times reported on a gay cancer that was showing up in gay men, the Gay Men's Health Crisis in New York City was founded. GMHC was a nonprofit, volunteer-supported, and community-based AIDS service organization whose mission statement is to end the AIDS epidemic and uplift the lives of all affected. So the organization was founded on January 4th, 1982, after reports began surfacing in San Francisco and New York City that a rare form of cancer called Kaposi sarcoma was affecting young gay men. After the Centers for Disease Control, or some people know as the CDC, declared the new disease an epidemic, the Gay Men's Health Crisis was created with 80 men gathered in New York gay activist and writer Larry Kramer, may he rest his soul, I think he died last year, apartment to discuss the issue of gay cancer and to raise money for research. So GMHC took its name from the fact that the majority of those who fell victim to AIDS were gay. The founders were Nathan Fain, Larry Kramer, Dr. Lawrence D. Mass, Paul Popham, Paul Rappaport, and Edmund White. Though hard work and many obstacles, they organized the formal tax-exempt entity. At the time, it was the few and largest volunteer AIDS organization in the world. Paul Popham was chosen as the president, much to Larry Kramer's chagrin. Now, scrolling on down, because I ain't going to read this whole damn thing, that's a lot. So it says that GMHC still exists today, and after almost 40 years fighting AIDS in New York City, And across the nation, GMHC has gained clients who have been with the program as long as 25 years, many of whom are now 50 years of age or older. GMHC services have evolved as its clients have grown older to ensure programs meet the needs of the aging HIV-positive population. So, I should also point out, by 1984, the CDC had requested GMHC's assistance in planning public conferences on AIDS. The same year, the human immunodeficiency virus was discovered by the French doctors Francois Barré-Sinoussi and Luc Montagnier. Within 2 years, GMHC was not only helping gay men who contracted the disease, but were also assisting heterosexual men and women, intravenous drug users, and children. So, if you want to read the rest of this article, I got it off of a website called backtostonewall.com, which they pretty much handle a lot of queer history and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I know this episode, child, please don't tell me this episode was over 3 hours, but nevertheless, it was entertaining. I want to thank Lindsay Aguilera and Remy for joining me on this episode, and we're going to be doing a lot more episodes down the road with our own little show that I've been teasing throughout the day. So let everybody know really quickly where you all can be reached on your social media handles.
Sounds great. Thank you. You guys can catch me on Instagram at Don't Worry I'm the Joker, or Twitter, Bitch I'm Linz.
And I'm on Twitter. It's KyloRem _ at the end. Or on Instagram, it is, that's a shame, I don't know my Instagram handle. It's Kylo _Rem _ A lot of people like it. I gotta make it do what it do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is all clever handles, and y'all know y'all can catch me on at Kris Avalon Official on Instagram and Twitter, and Kris Avalon on Facebook. So yes, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to my conglomerates for joining me for another amazing episode of On the Line. Until then, till next time, ciao, darlings. Coochie coochie. Commercial.
Doing makeup for a long time, so I've got to work with a lot of beautiful people along the way, and it is one of the reasons why I love what I do, and I love to be able to express myself through my artistry of makeup.
Yeah, one of the great things that I've always loved about makeup artists, particularly, or people that work behind the scenes, whether it's hair, makeup, or even in any part of the beauty situation, when you work with celebrities, you get all the good tea from them as well, because they will dish it to you. I know, because I've been on many a sets where they be beating your face and stuff, and this is what they get. I'm not going to ask you any of that because we don't want to be that messy. But one of the questions I want to know, because you said you work with Deb Annie, do you think she a Trump supporter? Because that's the storyline they trying to run with on that growing up hip hop.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. I think it's a made up storyline, but I just wanted to see if you believe it.
Well, okay, so I want to say two things about what you just asked me, if it's okay.
Yeah.
One, it's funny. I have thought about writing some type of a book about all my experiences with the Love and Hip Hop mothers, because I pretty much work with every single mom except for probably like Rashida's mother.
Okay.
So I've had crazy experiences with each and every one of them.
Oh wow.
Okay. But great experiences. But nonetheless, Deb Atney. I've had some very interesting experiences with Deb Atney, and though she can be very peculiar, at times, I don't see her being but hey, who am I? If she is, God bless her. If she's not, God bless her. God bless her. You know, we all have our own walk we have to walk